today is a good day to listen to Keeping Up with the Cardassians. Hey everyone, welcome to Keeping Up with the Cardassians. This is Nick.
This is Rob.
This is Joe.
And we welcome you to the greatest podcast on Cather Street. Oh wait, that's too much information. Whatever, there's Cather Streets everywhere. But welcome to Keeping Up with the Cardassians. We are a podcast who loves talking about pop culture stuff. Mainly comics, movies, TV shows, music, personal information.
Thanks, Nick.
You're welcome.
Nick can't be trusted with any kind of information.
What's the last four of your social? 1, 2, 3, 4?
Of course.
Yes, exactly. So welcome to this lovely podcast. As you know, our podcast started off as all Star Trek all the time, and we still love Star Trek. We, in fact, actually, we have a YouTube exclusive that we're putting out every week right now where we're reviewing Star Trek Picard, so you can tune into that. Actually, we release that on Saturdays, so by the time you hear this, it's already out. So anyways, we started off as Star Trek, but right now we are actually reviewing Battlestar Galactica, and we're in the season 2 of Battlestar Galactica, and we have 2 episodes we're going to review with you today in the second half of the show. In those 2 episodes, we're going to review with you our Flight of the Pheonix and Pegasus, which are the official ends of season 2.0, and then after that it goes to season 2.5.
Yes.
So, but before we get to that, we like to talk about other things that have come up over the course of the week. Talk about things we've heard, and one of the things that I really want to start off with for you gentlemen, and this is going to perk up Rob's ears. I have some news about Tom Cruise.
Go on. Is he single?
I don't know if
is he currently single?
I don't know.
He's married to the Church of Scientology.
That's true.
Well, I know that.
So we don't want
anybody that comes into his life is his mistress.
Yes, exactly.
Allegedly.
So here's the news. According to THR, Tom Cruise had a meeting with Warner Brothers Discovery CEO David Zaslav last month. And Zaslav was talking about how much he's excited about this new movie he's got coming out in June called The Flash. And Cruise said, "Can I see this movie? Can I see this movie of yours? I made you $1 bajillion with Top Gun 2. Let me see this movie."
We're pulling rank.
I don't think Top Gun 2 is a Warner Brothers movie.
No, that's a Paramount.
That's Paramount, dude.
Oh, shoot. Well, I make a lot of movies with other movies, money with other movies, so let me see this. And they're like, okay, fine, maybe you'll make Top Gun 3 with us.
I'm pretty sure you just said, "I'm Tom effing Cruise. Can I see this movie?"
So, after he watched the movie, he called director Andy Muschietti.
Nailed it.
And he said, "The Flash is everything you want in the movie. This is the kind of movie we need right now."
And this
So I actually read this morning. I wrote it down this morning.
Dang it! I was hoping it was new news for you.
That's news to me.
Well, there you go.
But you're not special. Everything's news to me.
You know, after listening to Tom Cruise on Light the Fuse podcast talk about how into making movies he is, and he wants to make them for the audience.
Yeah,
that statement actually has a little bit of weight with me.
Nice. Yeah. I mean, I actually would say it probably has some weight with me too. For as much as I don't like Tom Cruise personally, the guy knows what he's doing when it comes to film. So
this is really interesting to me because of the three of us this past weekend went to go see Shazam 2.
Shazam!
We did?
Yes, the three of us. We went on a date.
We invited you?
I showed up. I did not get invited. I showed up.
There you go.
But a lot of the time I was watching the movie, I'm like, whatever. This is inconsequential.
Yeah.
It doesn't really it was fun. There was good comedy.
Yeah.
But I'm like, it really doesn't matter. There's a lot of it's comic book stuff. It's superhero stuff.
Yeah.
And I was thinking, like, what are some good, like the Joker, the Batman. These are good recent comic book movies that I think are movies of consequence, movies of note, films
that tell something.
That tell something.
Yeah.
That have staying power. And I hope we're getting something like that with The Flash.
Yeah. You know what I was thinking, actually, that I was on my way here, and this kind of comes with Shazam, and we'll go into that in a minute, and then Flash and all these things. And I was thinking in my head, I'll just say right now, I thought Shazam 2 was better than anything Marvel's put out in the last 3 to 4 years.
I will agree with that.
I agree.
And I was thinking about this in my car ride over, and I was thinking about, why do I feel this way? And then I realized, here's the problem with shared universes. They get so big that what that you're constantly having to throw all these things into the movie to connect all the dots. And by the time you do that, you're like, all right, now we got to write a story. So there's not much room to actually have a story that stands on its own. There's nothing. It's hard to tell something that can stand the test of time on its own as a film. Shazam 2 was able to do that. It didn't need the shared universe to do that. Even though it drops in Batman references, Superman references. We have a cameo in there at one point. But overall, like, you're not like, all right, I can't wait for the next movie. Like, you could be fine with that being the end of it, and it was fine. But the Marvel movies, when they end, you're like, all right, now it's just setting up the next one. Now it's setting up the next one. They don't tell anything. They don't stand on their own like Joker or Batman do. They need the shared universe to actually make them make any sense. And I think that's the big problem.
And that's what I'm hoping for with The Flash, where it's Tom Cruise is saying it's the movie we need right now, which I hope it's more of that type of DC, that standalone character.
And I hope that, because if you look back at season 1 of The Flash on CW, that first season,
oh my gosh,
was one of some of the best TV. It had a huge, huge heart, and that's what I'm hoping we get out of this movie. And that I hope that's what Tom Cruise is referencing to, that it has the heart of that first season of the show, The Flash.
I mean, the trailer knocks it out of the park.
It absolutely does.
It's a really good trailer.
It was a good trailer. It was a very good trailer.
Yeah, I mean, you got your Batman action shots. You feel the heart in it with why do I want to say Wally? It's not Wally. It's
Barry Allen.
Barry Allen with his mom, and so I mean, there's some good stuff in there. The tease of Wonder Woman, Zod showing up.
First of all, that's
or not Wonder
I will
Woman,
still
sorry,
say
Zod
showing up. When we saw that during the Super Bowl, I was like, oh God.
Yeah. Which is really cool, actually. He had an interview where he's like, yeah, they called me out of the blue, and they're like, do you want to be Zod again? He's like, I thought he was dead.
I thought I died.
So I'm excited about it, but like you said, I hope it tells something. I hope it gives us... This seems like this is going to be the master reset for the DC universe.
I think I heard rumor that they reshot something at the end to
make it a master reset, which is a good idea, but again... I want it to still be able to stand on its own with not just serving as a setup for the new shared universe.
There's a new rumor that Christian Bale will be in it too.
Oh my gosh, if they just...
I had a feel like, I was thinking like, are any of these shots Bale?
That would be amazing.
I don't think so.
The Bat Cycle?
No, I think that was
Batfleck. Yeah, that's Batfleck.
Scumbag.
Wouldn't that be great? Like, even if they just show the Flash running through the Time Force and they show a Batman shot, like
a Tumblr or whatever it might be.
Yeah, like do something like that. Show a scene from the 1960s Batman.
Oh
like,
my God.
Have fun with
That'd
it
be
a
funny.
little. Have a little bit of fun with it. Like, it's possible to be a serious film, but still kind of acknowledge what came before.
And I'll go back to that CW series when they did that crossover for everything, where they brought in Smallville, they brought in like TV shows from the 90s.
The Crisis on Infinity Earths, yeah.
That was so well executed, where they gave that fan service, but it made sense for the story.
Well, yeah, and the fact that he gave up his powers. Well, first of all, he would never give up his powers. How does he give up his powers?
But you can. Like, if you look at Superman
but that was
3.
But that was still a cool scene because he's like, I don't have my powers and I can still kick your butt, which was pretty cool.
Did they bring in anybody from Lois and Clark?
Yeah. I don't remember.
Oh, wait. You mean the one with Dean Cain?
Yeah.
No.
They did Batman 89, though.
Oh.
Yeah.
In the Crisis on Infinity Earths?
Yeah, at the very beginning, one of the scenes, the guy's seen reading the paper in the Gothic.
Oh, yeah, it's the
reporter.
It's the reporter.
And there's an article by Vicky Vale.
Yeah, the Vicky Vale article.
Nice.
They do Batman 89, they do Smallville, they do...
Birds of Prey. They do just about. They do the Flash from the DCEU. They do just about everything.
Yeah, they do. They have the scene where they see each other. Yeah,
it's actually pretty impressive.
Yeah,
very nice.
It's a pretty.
But to go along with what you were saying about Shazam, and versus the most recent Marvel movies is, I feel like I have to work to get through the Marvel movies now.
Yeah,
and you're right. It feels like it's just a cog in a machine, and I'm like, all right, let's just move on. And that's maybe not all of them, but the majority of them, it's like, all right.
Well, they used to do both.
Yeah.
So each movie used to be a cog in a machine to get to the ultimate goal, but they were also good films. Like you would go and see Civil War or Captain America, Winter Soldier,
because it had a story on its own.
Right. Those were good films. They were part of the Marvel machine, getting you to point Z right at the end. But they were good films. They weren't all good films, but they had some home runs in there that were good films that you could watch on your own, on their own.
Yeah. You know, I was trying to think of where that started, where they, like the delineation between they could stand on their own. I think it was Captain America 3. I think it was Civil War, because that's where they kind of broke up, you know,
But those were still executing well.
You know, I didn't love Civil War, honestly.
I didn't love it, but I think it's still executed well. Then you
I
go
thought
into
it
the
was
Avengers.
okay.
But I think that's
We're
the
good.
delineation point between, okay, you could see these films without seeing all of them, to now you have to see all of them because they're all part of this universe, you know, like they're...
Well,
That's what I'm getting at. It's not necessarily that it's bad. It's not bad, but it just, that's the point where it becomes a machine to me.
I think Civil War is better than anything they're doing right now.
by far.
Yeah, absolutely. It still is. But, I mean, anything with Chris Evans in it is
That guy's dreamy.
good. He is a good-looking man.
That guy's dreamy.
Where does he rank on our
Our list.
list of
He might
He's way over Josh. Whatever that guy's name. You guys
exploiting
like?
Huh?
The guy you guys like? I'm like, really?
Josh? Who's Josh?
Not Josh. But the guy from Drive.
Josh Gad
No, he's way above Josh.
Oh, are you
Gad.
talking about the guy from Drive?
or Ryan Gosling?
Yeah,
Ryan
he's way
Gosling.
above Ryan
Get
Gosling.
outta here.
No,
Yeah,
he's way
Ryan
above.
Gosling is beautiful.
You're talking about Ken. You watch your mouth.
Yeah.
Chris Evans should have been Ken.
No.
No.
He looks like Ken.
No.
All these guys look like Ken.
Yeah, I know. They all look the same. No, he's in my top 5, though, Chris Evans. Mm-hmm.
So you're all upset that I'm like Chris Evans is better than Ryan Gosling or whatever his name is.
Gosling's one.
And then you're like, well, he's in my top 5.
I mean, he could still be.
Ryan Gosling's not in my top 20.
Kate Upton's an
Get
8,
outta
and
here.
that upsets you. If I say Kate Upton isn't the most beautiful woman in the world, you get upset about that.
Because that's blasphemy.
It doesn't mean she's not gorgeous. She's just not the most beautiful. That would be me.
That's true. You are beautiful.
Thank you.
Not in your top 20?
Now I'm at 20. Now it's 25. You want to go?
Oh,
want to
wow,
go
for
lower?
spite- for
you want to go
spite.
lower?
Your taste in men is
What's really going to blow your mind
questionable.
is in his top 20 is Vin Diesel.
I'm sure.
Now I'm ranking them. I'm bumping them up because you guys.
All right, let's move on. Let's talk about Shazam, because we have not talked about Shazam yet. So
Okay.
Are we doing spoilers here? Because
No, we can't technically.
we
Oh yeah,
cannot-
because it's not a
Within
week.
a week.
It's not been a week. So the three of us went and saw Shazam 2 last night. We took some of the family came, not all of the family.
We took our families.
Joe is family.
Uncomfortable. Joe came.
Yeah, you did.
And I saw the movie.
Yeah.
Yeah. I see what you did there. So we went to the movies. We saw Shazam 2. And if you had, let's start with this. Give it a rating out of 10.
Ooh.
I didn't even think that.
6.5.
I would give it a 7.5.
Oh, wow.
I don't know if I'd do that. I think probably 7. I'd probably
Yeah.
right between you guys.
I enjoyed it.
I enjoyed it a lot.
I would watch it again.
It was entertaining.
Yeah, it was entertaining. I thought the humor was there.
I nodded off for probably half a point.
Did you really?
That's true. He totally slept.
I went to a
that's
happy hour
right.
beforehand, so
Yeah.
I had some whiskey and a beer in me.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I had popcorn and
Those chairs are comfortable.
popcorn,
Yeah, they were.
another beer, and a heated reclinable chair.
Too. What are you supposed
I'm like,
to do?
This is entrapment.
Yeah. What are you supposed to do?
I took that nap, so that saved me yesterday.
Yeah.
I did too, briefly,
Yeah.
I thought
during the middle of Shazam.
I like the casting. Helen Mirren was great in her role. Lucy Liu was good. I mean, she plays a villain pretty well. The family's great. You know, it was a good movie. Was it still a predictable movie? Fairly.
Yeah.
Yeah. But like all superhero movies.
Yeah,
are
we didn't go
generally
into
predictable.
Shazam thinking it was going to be the Batman.
Yeah. Though then again, the Batman wasn't predictable because I thought once he caught the Joker, that was basically it.
The Joker, the Riddler.
Or the Riddler. That was it.
Just make sure we're watching the same movie.
Well, but then again, I mean, he does kind of catch the Joker in Batman, and then Batman falls off the roof.
Anyway, it was just enjoyable, and at least like Jesus Christ,
That laugh stuck with me for years.
Oh
I
my
know.
God, yeah.
I think it
Dead
did all
on
of
the
us.
ground.
Yeah, I agree.
He's got that smile on his face.
I just like you go into Shazam because it's a bunch of kids,
Yeah.
and you know it's supposed to be a fun movie.
Good job ignoring me, gentlemen.
Yeah, totally moved on. So it was fun, and Levi plays that role perfect.
Yeah, he's perfect for that.
My
role.
wife would scoff every time he was on the screen. She hates him.
Yeah,
I don't know why. Actually, she told me why.
he acts like a child in most of his roles
Yeah,
because
and
that's the roles he gets.
She doesn't like that.
Although Chuck, he acted like us.
Yeah.
So how did she like you?
She doesn't like me. I mean, that's pretty clear. It's pretty clear.
I just want to say something.
Was there
Yeah, go
any
ahead.
Was there any castings you liked in that film?
Grace Caroline Curry.
Yeah. So I forgot she is in the first one as the grown-up version.
Goodness gracious.
Yeah. Yeah.
She is stunning.
She is gorgeous. She is absolutely beautiful.
Excellent actor too.
Yeah. Oh, she
did a great job in the movie.
She didn't really have much.
Not really. No one did.
None of them did, other than
The kid, man. Freddie Freeman, man.
Yeah.
That kid knocked it out of the park.
Yeah.
He was great as Freddy. I didn't like his alter ego, Adam Brody. I wanted to punch him the whole time.
I had fun watching the movie, and I'd watch the movie, and then I'd look over at Joe when certain people would come on screen, and he would just shake his head with a smile. That was my favorite.
Yeah.
She lights up the screen. It's amazing.
She's
I think they should change the DC universe.
I would sign that petition.
Oh man.
Twice.
I did that just for Nick.
Gosh. But yeah, I didn't realize. So she is in the first one as the grown-up version of her, and then in this one, she takes on both roles now.
Oh, I didn't realize that she was. I thought someone else played her.
No, she plays the version of her before she's Shazammed, the superpowered one.
So
those were
she
two
plays
separate
the younger
actors.
one, and then someone else played her the older one.
No, she played the older one, and someone else played the younger one. And now, because they're supposed to be aged a couple of years, they made her the younger one and the older one.
I don't know about that.
Yeah, absolutely, bro.
Nick's making up.
What's
He's
her name?
casting on the fly. Grace Caroline Curry.
Grace Caroline Curry, Shazam. Google it.
Beautiful smile.
Beautiful. Oh, she's in Fall too, and I heard that's a really good movie. With the story about the two women who are stuck on top of the antenna tower and like it's falling apart, and
I've never heard of it.
It's supposed to be extremely good. Have I seen it? No. Do I care to see it?
You want to review it?
Maybe. Yeah.
What do you give it out of 10?
I give it a 10 out of 10.
A 10 out of 10?
Fall. Yes.
Wow.
Before I've
I
seen
don't
it.
think I could go any higher than a 7.5.
Yeah, that's a pretty
It
good
was
rating.
all right.
That's a pretty good rating. I like it. Okay, so back to Shazam, though. Back to Shazam. There's some good end credit scenes, so stick through the end credits.
There's two of them.
Really, the first end credit scene is better. The second one is like,
The second one is a setup because that character's from one of the movies
from the
Authority, I think.
Yeah, I don't know. Right.
Spoiler.
But it was nice to see that first one was a pretty funny one. I like that one.
Yeah.
I didn't realize that woman is the wife of James Gunn.
You didn't know that?
No,
I think we covered that during the Peacemaker thing.
we might have. I don't know.
I'm pretty sure we did.
Yeah. But I like her as an actress, and I like the other guy too.
Yeah.
The comedic role of that guy.
I'm glad.
Nepotism?
I don't care.
Yeah,
But
absolutely.
because Peacemaker and Suicide Squad were pretty good, so keep those characters around if you can.
Yeah.
The Suicide Squad.
Yeah.
Yeah, whatever.
Yeah. Okay.
You
Anyways,
gotta get it right.
I think
one of those movies was not good.
yeah, exactly. I think Shazam is good. I think it's worth seeing. I think you should go to the theaters and check it out. That's really all I'm getting at.
Yeah.
I think if you like what Shazam does, it's worth seeing in the theater. I think,
That's a good way to word it.
I think if you're just a casual moviegoer, I think you probably wait for streaming.
But here's my question for you. Okay, so we know that Marvel movies, they have the humor in there, and the humor tends to be really cheesy. I felt like the humor pulled it off a little bit better in this movie than in the Marvel movies. Did you? Or is that just because I'm just so over Marvel?
I think it's different because you have children doing the childish.
There you go. That's the thing.
I think
that's a good point.
Yeah.
But like this compared to Black Adam, like Black Adam looks like a piece of garbage compared to this
Oh,
movie.
for sure.
Which is absolutely hilarious because like here's Dwayne Johnson being like, we worked on Black Adam for 15 years. We put out the best film possible and the critics hated it, but the audience loved it. And then now like you watch Shazam 2, which basically they made it in 3 years and it was basically dead on arrival because the DC universe is resetting. And it's a way superior film.
I agree.
The humor pulls off better. It doesn't feel forced. And Shazam feels like a superhero that would be a good matchup against Black Adam. So his obsession with fighting Superman is ridiculous.
I just think The Rock thinks he's better than Shazam.
Yeah.
I think so.
You think The Rock is better than Shazam?
No, I think The Rock thinks
I know.
he is.
I'm giving you a hard time.
I've backed off my Rock love.
He's done it to himself.
I'm not boycotting him, but
He's a little bit dead to you right now.
I'm giving him some space. We're taking a break and giving him some space.
I get that.
So you guys aren't in for John 4 next week, or John Wick 4.
I haven't seen John Wick 1, 2, or 3.
If Nick can cram in 3 John Wicks.
They're an hour and a half movies.
Next week, Super Mario Brothers comes out, though.
I don't care, John Wick.
Which
3.
is predicted to have a $90 million opening weekend.
Well, I could tell you that if those two movies come out next weekend, Shazam's second week is going to go bomb.
They predicted that it's going to open around 30 million. So yeah, they're going to drop. I would say it's going to drop to about 10 million.
I think a good 60-70% if those
which tells you they're not making a sequel.
Can we discuss a major Nintendo blunder here?
Yeah,
interesting.
For not releasing the Super Mario Brothers on March 10th, which was a Friday.
Mario
Day.
Yeah.
That's not a made up. They've branded that day for the last 5 years or so.
Yeah.
As Mario Day.
Yeah, that's kind of silly.
March 10th, and to brand it like that, have a movie coming out and not release it.
And the studio
and it falls on a Friday. It's not like it falls on a Wednesday or a
Tuesday.
Right. It falls on a movie release day.
Yeah.
And how much more post-production work are they doing on the film between the 9th and whatever the end of the month?
Right.
They're not. They're done.
So,
at that point, it's been done.
I think they really missed an opportunity to really drive home the movie.
I would agree.
What else came out on the 10th? I don't think anything.
No, something came out last week.
Well, it would have been March 9th, right?
Scream
6.
Which is getting incredible reviews.
Is it?
It is, but is there a real intersection?
No, they can play off each other well.
Yeah.
Although this day and age, I think you get a lot of families going to horror movies.
Scream 6, was it. But yes.
What did it do? What did it open on the box in the box?
Scream
office?
6 box office. Let me see. Scream 6.
I think if you're going to get people going to the theater,
58 million. Wow. Oh wait, okay. So the opening weekend was 44.5 million. So now it's at 58 million. But still, 44 million for a scary movie, especially because the previous Scream was hated. I guess
was it?
Scream 5 was really.
I thought it was.
ripped.
I thought it was pretty good. I didn't.
But
think
they're
it was
saying
that bad.
6 is a really good one. They're saying 6 is probably one of the best one besides the first.
Yeah.
So.
I
don't know.
I really do think Nintendo missed. They missed the. Missed the mark there.
Yeah, I'm not disagreeing with you. Okay, so let's talk about some other things. Another thing, we might have already mentioned this, but real quick, I want to say James Gunn is officially writing and directing the new Superman movie, which is a good call. If this is now your universe and you are the head of it, you have a responsibility to take care of the most important character in that universe.
Yes.
So
we could argue who the most important character is, though.
You think Batman is more important than
It's probably more mainstream.
Batman has made more money than Superman.
You think Batman's more important in this series of projects that they've laid out?
I think
Or do you
Batman
think-
is the most important because it's the most marketable.
See, that's where I think Superman is the most important because he is the most powerful character, and if you get him wrong, it screws up the rest of the universe.
I agree with that. And I like the quote. There's a quote from James Gunn about they kind of gave a brief synopsis of the movie.
Yeah.
And I like what he said about the Superman that's supposed to be in this movie.
Mm.
But I think ultimately, it's Batman. And if they do Superman well, he could be the most important part.
Yeah.
But right now, there's such a stigma on Superman. I don't think he's important right now.
I think they have the most to gain from doing Superman well.
I think you might be right there.
Yeah.
Because they've done so much with Batman over the course of this century.
Yeah,
right?
it's oversaturated right now. You need to take a step back.
I think it's reaching that point. I don't think they've really touched on oversaturation just yet.
Oh, I think that.
But I think if they continued to push the Batman button, I think they would do that very quickly. I think by focusing on Superman first, they have the most to gain there. I think because we haven't seen Superman in a while. The character is ripe for like good development, a good story, a good film. And I think if they do that, it'll knock it out of the park and really set the stage for
now we get to pay
everything.
attention for casting.
Yeah, because that should be coming out soon. We should start finding out who it is.
Yeah, I mean, if he's finished with the script pre-production, hopefully it starts soon.
Yeah. Here's another thing I want to ask you about. So we were at Shazam, and there was multiple trailers. We saw a trailer we talked about The Flash.
Mm-hmm.
There was a trailer for the Barbie movie.
That looks amazing.
I'm in on the Barbie
I'm totally in. Rob was scoffing.
Oh, no, it looks amazing. And then also Dungeons & Dragons looks pretty good to me.
That was the best trailer for that movie yet.
Yeah.
Because I still have no interest. But
I will agree with you about that being the best trailer yet.
But still not interesting to you?
I don't know. I think I told Rob, I whispered to Rob that it just looks like like generic like medieval movie.
I like Chris Fine and all. Yeah, I call him Chris Fine.
Chris Fine.
Yeah.
Now where does he rank?
Above
Gosling?
Yes.
What? Actually, it depends. Sometimes Chris Pine looks good. Other times he looks haggard.
He looked a little rough in Wonder Woman 2.
He did, but he looks good as Captain Kirk.
Yeah. Dungeons and Dragons is like.
I guess he was just coming back from the dead in Wonder Woman 2.
That's true.
So my question with it is,
spoilers.
What's the point?
To try to make money.
Hey,
I know.
Remember how you said you like original films, and you're sad that Hollywood doesn't
not
do
really original.
It is too. It is. It's based off of a gaming property, but like the whole point of Dungeons and Dragons are you create the stories. Like it's not.
Here's the thing, we've had Dungeons and Dragons movies for 20 years now. We had Lord of the Rings. We had Hobbit. We had
Harry Potter.
Harry Potter. We've had.
Those aren't original though. You're
Harry Potter's not original.
It was based off.
Harry Potter's more original than Dungeons and Dragons.
You haven't seen it yet.
I don't mean the content. I mean the idea.
Hipster who's just hating on things you haven't seen with your dumb pizza tattoo. Actually, I love your pizza tattoo. I just wanted to insult you. I love that pizza tattoo.
I want to eat it.
We didn't even talk about that last week.
I know.
Oh,
I want to eat it, Joe.
Joe's got a cool pizza tattoo on his arm. He's gonna have to show it off during the YouTube video.
Oh, I will.
Actually, you can show it off now because they can see if they watch YouTube. Pizza.
It's not Chicago style pizza.
It's drippy. What is it? What are the toppings? Did you choose?
No, I did not choose the topping. It's pepperoni.
Okay. Yeah, I mean you got to go basic.
Pepperoni. I'm guessing, and like green peppers.
Okay.
That's what I like that on my pizza.
Right, good.
Yeah,
but there's no way on earth that you're gonna have the take in front of me that says Dungeons and Dragons is a more original idea than Harry Potter.
Yes. For movies. Movies.
That's a terrible take. And you said Ron Howard was the greatest director of all time.
I am going to stand my ground on this, and you cannot convince me otherwise.
How is it more original?
Harry Potter was based off of everything that came before it. Guess what came before Harry Potter? Hint:
Books.
Dungeons and Dragons.
Books.
Dungeons and Dragons came before Harry Potter.
I
gosh,
disagree with
you're
this.
so wrong. I've never hated you more than I hate you right now.
That is a strong take. That might be a stronger take than your.
Can we
Dungeons
fact
and
check
Dragons.
that?
Yeah, actually, that Snopes says that's incorrect.
Oh gosh, no, I'm sticking with it.
I disagree.
It does not mean that the Harry Potter films weren't excellent.
Why?
Excellent. Dungeons and Dragons has come out way before Harry Potter. If Dungeons and Dragons does not exist, Harry Potter does not exist. It's like saying that you didn't need Elvis Presley for the Beatles to happen. You absolutely did need Elvis Presley for the Beatles to happen. It doesn't mean that the Beatles aren't great.
Are you suggesting that Elvis Presley is more original than the Beatles?
No, Elvis Presley.
That's what I'm hearing.
Elvis Presley, but the Beatles don't happen without Elvis Presley.
I'm not saying which happens more. I'm saying which is the more original content.
I think the Beatles are better than Elvis Presley, but that's
a
matter of personal taste.
I would probably agree, but in terms of originality,
Elvis stole all of his stuff from black jazz,
right? You're saying
and black rock and roll.
In your analogy, Elvis is Dungeons and Dragons.
He's saying actually in his analogy, Elvis is Harry Potter.
No,
in his analogy,
no, the Beatles are Harry Potter.
Yes.
Because the Beatles can't exist, Harry Potter cannot exist if Dungeons and Dragons isn't there. That does not mean that the Beatles aren't incredible. It does not mean that Elvis isn't incredible. It just means that that's the more original material, and they're stealing from it. They're improving upon that material that came before.
I disagree.
Okay, well, you're wrong.
I think if Dungeons and Dragons was made in the 80s, it would have been awesome.
When it was at the height of its popularity. I mean, when was the height of Dungeons and Dragons popularity?
Probably the 80s.
You think so?
Mm-hmm.
Because it's getting pretty popular now.
Mid to late 80s.
My kid, his school has a Dungeons and Dragons club, and that would not have happened in the 80s.
Have you not seen Stranger Things 4?
That truly is. Well, I'm going off of the high school I went to, which was like a poor high school where the nerdier you like. Now it's okay to be nerdy, but back then, like it was the jocks versus the nerds kind of a thing.
Yeah, but
That's kind of gone away.
Since it was the jocks versus the nerds, didn't the nerds huddle up in a basement playing Dungeons and Dragons, hiding?
Yeah,
from
but
the
it wasn't
jocks?
official clubs. It wasn't like we're advertising it. You know.
Well,
all right. Let's move on before I punch you. I'm not really gonna punch you. I'm trying to think of other material. Oh, Last of Us ended on Sunday. You still have not. You got past the first episode.
yeah, I'm 20 minutes into the first episode, so I'm almost there.
So good, man.
Almost
so good.
there with you guys.
Yeah, it's really good.
I need you to finish so we can talk about Joel's choice in the finale. I mean, if you've played the video games, you know what Joel's choice is. Do you know you played the video game?
No, I never played the video games either.
Freaking A.
I don't have time. You think I have time for this video game? I don't have time for the series.
Yeah, he doesn't have time to post on Twitter.
Sons of bitches.
I send you the question of the week.
Hold on. Twitter is they give no responses on
We
that.
didn't get any
Since I'm
responses.
doubling down on my Joe hate today, you need to watch The Last of Us on that beautiful television in your basement that you haven't paid me for yet, you bastard.
I haven't.
I'm doubling down on my Joe hate.
All right, here it goes. This is
I'm coming at you.
Yeah,
your
he is.
take, your
It's
take,
their
is-
diary.
your take on Harry Potter was so bad, and it's really broken my heart.
I didn't know you had a
You're
heart to
going
break.
down a path I cannot
If
follow.
If I knew you had a heart to break, I wouldn't have said that.
Joe, run away with me. We can
All right.
raise our kids on Naboo.
No, I'm good.
Okay, it was worth a shot. Uncomfortable silence.
Oh, look at him.
Well, I know. That was a guess, though.
Actually,
That
I was thinking
100%
that.
a
I
guess.
was thinking actually that was going to be the sexy sax music because that would have worked. Too.
Wow.
But that,
So then that tracks. He pushed
which
the
is
wrong button.
which is, to be fair, they're both purple.
Yeah.
You know, you got that, and then you got the crickets below it. Oh, now the crickets are just going to keep going.
I think they both work
They do. They do.
in the same context.
You know what else works? That.
Yeah.
Now he's just going to hit buttons the entire show.
But we
Well,
three men.
You need that on Patreon.
Oh gosh, what other news did you gentlemen want to cover?
Do you guys know who Lance Riddick is?
I do now, unfortunately.
Lance Riddick. What's going on? What a-
He's an actor.
Was an actor.
Well,
Was an actor.
Rob doesn't know how to use his mic. Oh, the guy from Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He died this week.
Yeah.
So he's from John Wick 4 and a bunch of other roles. I think he's from that J.J. Abrams show you liked, Fringe.
Yeah, he is. Yes. Yeah, he's a genre actor, absolutely.
Oh, for
He's
sure.
definitely an actor where you don't know the name, you know the face.
The Wire. That's it. That's the
Yes.
other one.
Yeah. Yeah.
Which is another show that I've been told I need to watch.
He's also
but I
John
have
Wick
not-
Chapter
I have
4.
not seen yet.
I refuse to watch it on recommendations until other people finish Scrubs. At least season 3.
What if I told you I finished season 1 of Lost?
I wouldn't believe you.
Yeah, we'd be lying.
Well, I would be lying. But I'm getting there. I'm close. Next week, I'll be able to share my season 1 wrap up,
Mm-hmm.
which is 25 hours of television. So you got to cut me some slack. That's a lot of TV.
I agree.
Okay, so
You did.
give me a break.
It is and they're not quick hours either. Those are kind of exhausting episodes.
Yeah, that's the thing. This isn't like you're going through like a romp, like a good time. Like, no, you're depressed by the end of every episode.
But it is a lot. It's very saturated with information and plot points. And
Yeah.
if you know when you're watching that show, the like season 2 and 3, you're trying to keep up with. It's almost like you have to have one of those like those pin boards. You're like, okay, here's a plot point. Here's a plot
Nick's
point.
getting a booty call.
Yeah, it's
Yeah. It's from my aunt.
That's weird, Nick.
listen.
That is, hey, 2023, I don't think we're allowed to judge. But
I will not judge. What does she look like? First of all,
She's genetically me, but a female.
yikes.
Yeah.
I mean, you guys are a match then, right?
Yeah. Okay.
We got a voicemail this week. Did you cue that up?
Yeah, I did. You ready for it?
He did not.
Let's do it.
I got a voicemail. Here we go.
Hey, it's Cole from Washington. Been a while since I called. I know you're watching Battlestar Galactica right now.
Yes, we are, Cole.
Finished season 1 of it. I haven't seen it before. Up until about a year ago, I hadn't seen Star Trek either, and I mean Star Trek as a whole.
Sounds like my kind of guy.
It amazes me how much the video game Mass Effect pulled from both Battlestar and Star Trek.
Mm-hmm.
The story being more like Battlestar story and just the general environment and species from Star Trek.
Mm-hmm.
You spoke about that game before.
Also, I recently visited LA and took the Paramount Studios tour.
Nice.
I got some
I want to do that
Star
so bad.
Trek props and set pieces, pictures of them, and a picture of me standing with a wax figure of Kirk and Picard in either arm.
Mm.
Anyways, Trisha Helfer's hot. Washington's traffic update is that it's terrible. Nothing's changed here in the 21 years I've been alive living here. And I overlooked how much travel was required when I chose to be a carpenter. Yeah. So peace.
I love the goodbye in that message. Anyways,
Yeah.
Trisha
I think that was
Helfer's hot.
Jesus' main gripe about carpentry too.
Yeah.
Well done, sir.
A lot of
Do you think
travel.
A lot of travel.
Do you think it was
It's
Salt
my
in the Moon?
foot.
I did not expect this.
Do you think it was Salt in the Moon when Jesus got nailed to a wooden cross?
Yeah, he's like, really?
Did I make this cross? What the hell?
You couldn't have put me up on aluminum.
This is revenge for yesterday, isn't it? This is
This is revenge for everything.
We'll cover that on Patreon later.
I don't want to ever.
Oh, we are doing it on Patreon
It would
later.
be funny if they just put him up on like faux wood, like a particle
like a
board or
resin
something,
Particle
wood.
board,
Formica or something. But
Trex,
made it look like wood.
Oh,
Trex decking.
Oh my!
I don't think Trex wants this kind of.
It's waterproof.
It is. Oh boy!
Oh gosh, sacrilegious.
First of all, Cole's awesome.
Cole.
Yeah.
I think of Cole Trickle from Days of Thunder.
Yeah, Cole.
Let me out of the car, Cole.
Let me out of the car. Cole.
Yeah. So you've mentioned Mass Effect a couple times, I think, on the show. It's been a while since you have, but
And that's a really good analogy that he had. There is a lot of feeling of the Battlestar Galactica in that there isn't the hope and optimism that there's hope and optimism in the game, but it's heavily influenced by the military. Mass Effect is, of course, it's a video game, so you're a military character.
Mm-hmm.
But absolutely, like some of the alien design, their lore, their history, it all feels straight out of Star Trek. It's a really great science fiction game.
I've heard
series.
that.
Yeah, it's definitely worth playing. They're making it into a show, I think, or a movie.
I was going to mention that. I think they're opting that into a film. I believe.
I think it would do better as like an Amazon series.
I think you're right.
Probably.
They were going to make it a film. It got canceled.
Bummer.
Cancel
yeah.
culture.
Yeah.
Gets another one.
Yep.
Yeah. It got canceled. Yeah.
What did it do?
First at DCEU, then Bill Cosby, and now this. I'm just joking.
No,
I'm just joking.
Hey, on November 23rd, it's been reported that Amazon Prime Video is in talks to adapt it for streaming TV.
Bam!
So it's
Look at you, Jeff Bezos.
Yeah, Jeff Bezos. Oh, he's got the Fallout universe coming out on Amazon TV, which that'll be really great. The Fallout games are incredible. The original.
What do you
ones
you on the payroll or
specifically.
something?
For Fallout or for
Oh,
Amazon?
for Amazon.
Some of them are knocking out of the park, but the Lord of the Rings series, no.
Yeah.
They bombed on the Amazons. On
Did
that.
it?
Yeah. It's not good.
They've been
in my opinion.
They've been either really hit or really missed with their original content or with their streaming content.
What are some of the Amazon Prime series?
Jack Ryan.
The Man in the High Tower.
The Boys.
Oh, Man in the High Tower. Oh, those are three good ones.
Yeah.
Your Mom.
I'm
Master
gonna look
of
up.
None.
Your Mom.
No,
Master
Master
of
of
None?
None
Oh,
was
it was
Netflix. 5 worst Amazon series of 2022. Night Sky. I didn't watch it. The Lake. Mammals. Jungle. The Terminal List. Those are the worst ones.
The Terminal List or Terminal List?
I don't know. Hand of God. No, stop. No, dang it.
I never watched it.
Whatever. Anyways, not important. Moving forward.
I'm mentioning this so we can tag them in this week's post, but our media pass for Motor City Comic Con is in, our media application.
I saw
I
that.
was going
I
to
saw
say,
that.
we got the pass.
So hopefully we hear from these cats. We want to go talk. We've talked to Jonathan Franks. We'd like to do it in person.
Mhm.
And
We need to put a message out to Johnny Frakes and just say, pizza?
pizza afterwards. Take them to Buddies, Detroit style. Bam.
We'll take him out.
And
to
a
I know-
baseball game.
Yeah. Well, they're not
in town.
Either of the Mud Hens I looked.
He can sleep on my couch.
See this.
You got a spare room, dude.
Nick, we talked about this last
He
time.
gets the couch. He's number one. He's not the commander.
That's true.
I'm the commander.
I'm the commander now.
I'm the captain now.
Nick, we talked about this.
Yeah.
Personal space.
That's true. It's coming on too strong. Hey, Amazon series Fleabag is number one, which is a really good series.
That's a good one.
They have some shows that are not even original series. Like they put Friday Night Lights on here for Amazon Best Series. No, that's not. Marvelous Mrs. Maisel was on there. That was pretty good. Good Omens was on there.
Was Nurse Ratched an Amazon?
Nurse Ratched was Netflix. Wheel of Time was on there.
Oh.
Mozart in the Jungle was pretty good. I don't know if you watched that one, but it's good. It's about
which one's the Handmaid's Tale?
Handmaid's Tale
Netflix.
is
that
Hulu.
Hulu.
The Expanse went to Amazon Prime. Ooh, that's a good one. That's a really good one. The Boys, like you said. So, anyways, there's some good stuff.
And thank you, Cole, for calling in. And
We appreciate it.
Yeah, that number is 734-494-0980. We love the voicemails. We love it.
And if you want to send us the pictures of those the memorabilia that you saw in the Paramount.
Oh, absolutely. That's a great
cool.
idea.
Send those in. You can text those in.
You can text them to the
Yeah.
you can text them to the number, or you can email the show.
Text them, Cole, if you want.
The email is kuwtcshow@gmail.com.
Nailed it.
Nailed it. Okay, time for the next part. You know what it is, folks.
Derp, derp.
It's one of your favorite segments, as judged by.
Thought we were going to shorten the music.
I mean, I was trying to, but now I'm just going to talk over it while it goes. But it's time for the derp question of the week. Here we go.
D-E-R-P. That spells derp. Yep.
That's all I want. I want it the D-E-R-P. That spells derp. Yeah.
I think you need the preceding part, or at least a
The
little
derp,
bit,
derp.
to build up to it.
Derp.
You need a little bit of that beforehand.
D. Okay, I'll do some editing. So, derp question of the week. What is it, Rob?
So there was a strip club somewhere down south that got destroyed by a hurricane, and it wants to reopen as a topless weed dispensary.
What the heck?
So the question is, if that was your bar, what would you name it?
I can't remember what I even suggested.
It's in the
feel like
text thread.
I was on a roll on the text thread
So
immediately.
there
I
is-
think Nick and I were on a.
What did we get on the on our?
Well, Gavman Smash, aka my wife, threw a bunch out there.
She was blowing us up with them. I did see that.
The Liddy Titty, Gash and Hash, Mary Jane's Last Dance, Butts and Buds, and then we had Annette Just Laugh. I put Bongs and Thongs.
Bongs and bongs.
Terrence, the Jiggle Joint. And Tala Valley Football, Boobies and Doobies.
Boobies. Did you find yours?
No.
Oh,
I think I have boobs and blunts.
I think you did. I can't remember what I had. I had a couple of them too.
But it's some good questions out there. I like the answers.
Oh my gosh. It's okay. Can we talk about this idea of our strip club burned down? So we're gonna open a topless weed dispensary though. Like, I guess the thought is you already have your license for.
So that they have to drop the liquor license and then get a weed license.
Yeah, but you already have the one license for like nudity in your place. So
Tits and tokes was my favorite one.
Yeah.
did you find it?
Yeah.
Okay, what
Bongs
else?
and thongs, tits and tokes. Nick said boobs and bongs. Grass and ass.
Who was that
All
one?
that skunk in the trunk.
Who were those ones? Were those
You.
me? Oh,
Yeah.
hey, grass. I like that one.
I think that was it. It was pretty good.
Oh my gosh, it's just so.
It's
funny.
not too late. You can always comment on if you have something more creative than that. That's still out there on
What
Instagram.
if it was like a Chippendales one where
So-
it was like, because we're talking about like from the female perspective of a strip club. What if it was a male strip club, a bottomless sweet dispensary?
Dongs and thongs.
Yeah.
Dong-
Dongs and bongs.
Yeah.
blunts and boners.
So there.
Boners and stoners, man. Come on.
So
That's so good. That's so good.
So we are outside.
Can
of
we
Detroit.
rename our show Boners and Stoners?
Yeah. None of us are stoners.
None
though.
of us are stoners.
We can pretend.
I mean,
Okay.
the way we talk, you would think we
Yeah.
were.
And the way we eat donuts in the morning,
I know.
Oh gosh,
it seems like we are.
Looney Bakery should be a sponsor of this show.
Well, Adam,
Yeah.
So we record outside of Detroit, Michigan, and not too far down the road is Ann Arbor, and Ann Arbor has a store called Bongs and Thongs.
Do they really?
oh really?
BONGZ and Thongs. TONGZ.
What does it do?
THON.
It sells bongs and
It's
thongs.
like lingerie and it's like a head shop with lingerie.
Okay.
It's
Gosh.
pretty funny.
That is pretty well done. I mean, the name alone gets.
They've
you
been around.
customers.
They've been around for a while, but
Oh.
the storefront is just it's like lingerie and then like weed paraphernalia,
Yeah.
and it's just colorful and it's very inviting. But
It's so interesting because Michigan just legalized pot, not just, but it's been
few
4 years now.
yeah,
And initially, people were being really creative with the names of the dispensaries, and it's funny to think about how much work that would be to be creative. I think my dispensary name, if I was going to do it, would just be something like "You can buy pot here." That would be the name of my shop.
I have an issue here. So I would drive down the freeways, and I'd always see these billboards for cookies. And if one thing that you guys know about me is I love if I have a weakness, it's cookies, like chocolate chip cookies. And then I found out it was a weed dispensary, and I was pissed off. I was like, really? I really wanted to go to this place to try their cookies.
they might be good cookies.
They
You
might
never
be,
know.
yeah,
might
it's
be
true.
good
They might
cookies.
have cookies there. You're right.
But that doesn't interest you.
That
so.
doesn't interest me. I wanted chocolate chip cookies. I didn't want THC in them.
Yeah, I hear you.
Ah,
I hear you.
there'll be a square.
So mad.
There'll be a square, man.
Man. Well, you guys almost got me killed.
What?
You almost got me killed.
Well, sorry.
It happens. It happens. All right. Anything else we want to
You
talk
think
about?
you're gonna live forever?
Yeah, what can you do?
We ready to move on, gentlemen?
Oh yeah, we got TV to talk about.
We got some TV to talk about. We got 2 episodes of BSG to talk about. We got Battlestar Galactica, the first episode.
That's what that stands for.
Idiot. So we got 2 episodes to review with you today. We got Flight of the Pheonix and Pegasus. So we're going to start with Flight of the Pheonix. So Flight of the Pheonix is basically we're dealing with consequences of Ty's decision to network the ship. There's a Cylon virus that's wreaking havoc throughout the ship, slowly taking it down station by station. And as this is happening, they're realizing that, holy crap, we're basically going to die if we don't do something about it. So they come up with this plan that they are going to basically reboot the entire system of Galactica. And after they reboot it, it'll clear out the virus. But they need the help of Boomer. So they use Boomer to help them eliminate this virus. And as they eliminate the virus, all of a sudden, all these Cylon ships, like hundreds and hundreds of ships, get ready to attack the Galactica. They're outnumbered. They're going to die. But then Sharon shuts down all the Cylon ships and they can blow them all up. And then after they do that, they throw her back in jail. Meanwhile, Tyrell is having a nervous breakdown, and part of this breakdown is making love to machines and realizing that, how connected he is with machines. I think it's a coping mechanism for Boomer, but we'll get into that. So he decides that they're going to build a whole new fighter because they need something. They have nothing to live for anymore. So they start building this fighter ship, and everyone is making fun of them. But slowly but surely, everyone starts helping out. They all team up. They all work together, and they build a stealth fighter ship. And at the end of the episode, they christen the ship the Laura in honor of President Laura Roslin. Hilo reconciles with the crewmates who called him a Cylon lover, but now they're okay with him. And Tyrell finally makes the decision to go visit Boomer in jail. Episode ends. So this one is after seeing Pegasus. This is kind of the calm before the storm, right? We said we've had a couple slower episodes, really, right? We had the final cut was the previous episode. Now we have Pegasus. This one isn't really a standalone episode because there's some really important things that happen, but it's very clear that this is still kind of like all right, how do we deal with the everyday issues on Battlestar Galactica?
You know something was very weird and very unique about this episode?
Huh.
Baltar was useful.
What did Baltar do in this one?
He helped with support the rebooting of the system and showed why it was important.
Oh, yes, he
There
did.
was none of the stuff in his head. There was none of that. He was actually useful.
But see, this is a good point, though, because I think this is the Baltar the crew sees most of the time, but we just don't see it.
I disagree because he had none of his tics, none of that. He was actually very like this. Hey, we got to do this. There was no him wandering around.
Could this fit with Final Cut, though? Because at the last episode is where he had that conversation.
Oh, he's back next week or in next episode.
I know, but it's
In a way,
but it's not as severe.
That's not what it used to be.
Exactly. So could this be a reflection of this change in his understanding of what the voice in his head is? I think it could.
I mean, without jumping into the second episode this week, I think we are seeing him gaining a better understanding of a better understanding and control of what's happening.
Yeah.
With 6 in his head.
Yeah.
I think before it was like she was completely in control and he was just a passenger. And now I think we're starting to see him sort of gain control of that and use it in his favor. And I think that would be a very welcomed development in his character.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. I think that's fair to say. It's like Rob was tired of it right away between
the first scene, I was like, all right, I'm done.
Yeah, we know, Rob.
Well, I wasn't necessarily tired of it like Rob was, but I was getting frustrated with the plot holes of his actions not being recognized or taken seriously, or any red flags being raised because all they were showing us was him acting foolish.
Yeah.
And then everybody's like, well, where are the Cylons? Keep an eye out for somebody who's,
and then here's this guy who's clearly
he's acting like a lunatic, and you're like, it's fine. He's a doctor. He's a genius. Whatever.
Yeah.
There's Cylons out there, and there's got to be probably sympathizers. I wonder who that would be. The weird guy.
Yeah.
Well, we haven't seen sympathizers yet, though.
The whole show is sympathizers now.
Yeah.
Now it is, but we've slowly worked our way to that, right? What I was going to say, though, is at first with the Head 6 and the Baltar stuff, you're like, okay, but if they continue doing it at that level without a greater like him changing his character or whatever, it will get tiresome. And
it's not sustainable.
And it was getting tiresome for me too. It wasn't tiresome right away, but it was getting tiresome for me. I need this guy to start having some character growth with this thing in his head, and there wasn't. I think now we're getting there, and I think Final Cut is a step in the right direction for that.
Yes,
personally.
And when you pair it with these next 2 episodes, I think
absolutely
it's even it drives it home even more.
So where do we want to start on this one? What do we want to talk about first? Should we talk about Sharon's storyline?
Let's go with Sharon.
Yeah.
Because there's a really Adama and Rosalind are back to being bitches for life, right? I listened to our last episode before I came, and I was calling them "What's up, bitch?" And
you said bitch a lot last week.
I said it a lot.
Now you've already said it
they
twice.
have a great conversation about like, okay, you got to figure out, can you trust a Cylon? They're good at manipulating, but you got to go with your gut.
Mm-hmm.
And he trusts her, right? He brings her on the bridge, or CIC. I'm sorry.
You can call it bridge. It's fine.
Yeah, and she cuts open her wrist and jams the cable in her wrist, which is disgusting. But I think it's kind of a necessary scene in the sense like they look human, they absolutely do, but they are still machines. Ultimately, at the end of the day, they're machines.
See, it makes sense. But do you have any guess what I thought when I saw that way it played out? So I'm watching this. I go, are they going to 7 to 9 where the nanoprobes solve everything?
Oh yeah. Because that was every single episode.
Every single Voyager. I'll use my nanoprobes and I'm like, is this what this is going to turn into?
No.
I'm like, oh no.
I promise you, that's not what this is going to turn into.
Oh no.
But I like the idea that she can turn around and turn the virus against them because they don't know that there's a Cylon, like that they're using the Cylon on her ship. They know she's there. They know she's in jail, but that's all they know about her. They didn't know that they're going to start using her.
Right.
The Cylons didn't. So there she goes. She turns it around. I like the scene where Adama pulls the gun to her head, though. He's holding the gun and he's trying to make the decision whether to shoot her or not. And then what is it at the end when he's talking to Rosalind? What did you two find in common? We both want to live. It's true.
So there's commonality among them.
They want to live.
Remember when they were looking for all that metal?
Yeah.
For the fighter.
Yeah.
After they destroyed all those Cylon chips, they just got to grab all that metal.
Yeah, but that
I know.
they're terrified of Cylons. So,
But I'd go out there and I'd harvest what I could from the wreckage.
Yeah,
you got materials.
Resources are at a premium. Right?
Can you trust that metal? I would not trust that metal.
They had a Cylon ship on their ship at one point.
Yeah, but it wasn't integrated into their ship.
No, you're just using it for parts. Like if your hull blows out, you use it to repair the hull.
Yeah, but the whole point of the Cylon ships.
You think the metal's alive?
They're hybrids, right? There's material. There's living material on everything.
I never viewed the hull as the living material.
Because when they shoot them, you can see like guts and everything blowing out of them.
When Starbuck climbed inside the ship, there was a lot of guts inside the ship.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Well, she had to go through the metal. There's still plating and everything on there.
Yeah, I guess I would just assume it's all
It's all part of it. It's all Frankenstein's monster.
Right, and if I was the crew of the Galactica, I would not trust any of it.
I don't know. That's means to an end.
Yeah.
I mean,
if they don't have enough metal to build a
ship,
one ship, what are they going to do when their hull blows out?
I don't think it's a matter of not having enough metal to build a ship. It's deciding that metal is more important for other activities, because it really is. Like, okay, we're going to build a ship that probably won't fly. That's important. But, when we get hull breaches and all that, now the material's gone because we put it on this Blackbird.
You could replenish the material, though, by going into the 100 ships you just destroyed.
Or you got this fleet of 48, I can't remember how many ships. It's a lot of ships. You can reduce, you can combine crews and use...
Reduce, reuse, recycle.
Exactly.
Oh, another Patreon just said they're going to be on our little...
Oh, nice.
Interview.
Fun.
But so you're right, that could be kind of a plot hole, but I do like this idea of the crews all finding ways to work together to have something to hope for, because this is something that's very true. Like you have the breakdown of D on the CIC, right, where she snaps. Or was that... No, Gata.
That was
Gata breaks down. Where they're like, pull yourself together, Mr. Gata. Because of course, Saul is being a jerk. He yells at him.
Everybody wants
I don't want excuses. Wait, what would he say?
That was Batman.
That was Batman.
I know, but what would he actually say?
Just make it happen. What are you doing?
There you go.
I don't want excuses. Make it happen.
Make it happen. Yeah.
But he's a dick. And he
is.
always is a dick.
But everyone can take it, but because the thought was originally, all right, well, at the end of the day, I can go home. They can't go home now.
Right.
What are you doing letting her
dealing
lie
with
in?
this guy every single day of their life.
Bill, what are you doing letting her lie in?
Yeah. So people are snapping, and I like this idea.
One episode of the show, I'm going to do the entire show in character.
I would love that, because it's a really good Thai voice. It really is. This idea, though,
Just
that
yell,
there's...
you guys the entire time. What are you doing?
They literally have nothing to hope for. What are they looking for, right? That was the whole point of the pilot. Like, they were hopeless. Okay, I know the way to Earth, and they're on their way to Earth, so they were hopeful, but...
He didn't know a way to Earth.
I know, but now they're starting to lose that hope because they're not there yet. So what do you live for? So I like the Blackbird for that purpose. It's something they all can do together. There's reconciliation between Kelly and Tyrell here, which is nice, because he's pissed at her because you killed Space Boomer. How dare you? What else?
The book.
Yeah.
That
she gives it back.
Yeah, early season 1, right? Yeah, she's like, "Hey, I'm dying," and he
knows.
Yeah, you could tell from the way he portrayed the scene that the character is probably aware what that meant.
Okay, so this is a good place to shift, because I think this is why I love Battlestar Galactica so much. I think they nail the emotional moments really good, and I think the ending of this episode is a really emotional moment where she sees the name of the ship and she basically breaks down a little bit on the side, and he knows what's going on. Her giving back the book without saying anything, like he doesn't say anything.
And she tries to play it off.
And he knows what it means. She nails it out of the park in this episode. And she's not in it much.
No, not much at all.
Mary, what's her name? Mary McDonnell. But she is a great actress. She really nails her parts.
I've gotten to like her more and more as the show has gone on.
Yeah.
Her character's gotten better.
She's a really good president, really.
So far.
I mean, she's doing what she needs to do.
Secretary of Education.
Yeah.
She didn't back down from Adama.
No.
They reconciled and moved forward.
Neither one is holding a grudge.
Right.
Right? They're working together. They're trusting each other. even though they would have reason to distrust each other, and they're still
Well,
working
especially
past
after the last few episodes.
She-
Yeah.
Exactly.
She threw Baltar and she accused Baltar of.
And now he's her vice president.
Keep your enemies closer.
Never trusted you. Yeah. Well, she did say that, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So
I never trusted you from the beginning.
Actions speak louder than words, President.
yeah. But I thought those scenes were great. I got to be honest, actually. I got a little emotional at the end with the Blackbird when they reveal the name of it and like her breakdown, because she does such a good job. It made me like tear up a little bit.
Yeah, a little subtle.
Yeah,
Crybaby.
it was really well done. And then her taking the bottle and almost hitting it against the ship. That was a pretty cool scene. I like that one.
Well, that's what you do to naval ships.
Yeah. But this thing is made of carbon fiber. You can't do that. It's basically fabric over the ship. That was a cool scene too when it was out, when they were testing the ship out there, and she turns on her lights and she's literally right on top of his ship.
Yeah.
Nice scene. Well done. Anything else?
I don't know. For me, this week is all about episode 2.
Yeah, it really kind of is.
This was a good episode.
This was the end, if this was the second episode of a week we watched, I think it'd be different than being the first.
I did appreciate the plot of the chief and like how he relates to machines.
Okay, so
and everybody always calling Sharon a machine. They're calling her a machine. She's a machine. She's a robot. And
he was in love with her.
And he's in love with her, and now it's like, with the ship, and he's
we didn't even talk about the fight between Hilo and Tyrell as well.
Yeah.
They beat each other up and they're like, I don't even know why I'm mad at you.
Yeah.
Oh, that's a good point. So I'm on some notes here.
Okay.
So there's some things that Ronald D. Moore says. Tyrell and Hilo both harbor a lot of rage, frustration, self-hatred, and ambiguity because of how they love Cylons. Each of them sees himself in the other, and that's why they fight. Mm-hmm. So they're not fighting each other; they're fighting themselves, essentially.
They're fighting another version of themselves.
Yeah. Tyrell begins the episode by disassembling an unserviceable Viper and brawling. He then turns that energy to build the Blackbird and ultimately faces demons by talking to Sharon. And then here's an analysis by some guy. It's Jacob Clifton of a podcast, Television Without Pity, or a website. And this is a really good thing that he says on there. He says, you've got this show about man versus machine, and they're both using machines in the conflict. But then you've got a man, Tyrell, in love with a machine, Boomer, mourning that relationship using his fourth machine, the unserviceable Viper, and then attempting to remedy the non-machine void that the romance has left in him by building a fifth machine, the Blackbird, which itself becomes a symbol of the future of the fleet. Not to mention a tribute to a completely unrelated person, during all of which the big machine they all live in, the Galactica, becomes a traitor, and they can only be saved by the original bad guy machine, Sharon, who's now a POW and having a human machine baby.
It's machine inception. It's crazy.
And it's a really good analysis. You're like, holy crap.
It's pretty good. It's inception.
And then
Machine within machine.
And then finally, in production notes, the writers continued spreading the construction of the Blackbird over several episodes. And more admitted, realistically, it would take weeks. However, they decided to tell the whole story in one episode as part of the theme of the fleet's morale.
Normally it's something someone could nitpick, but I think we all kind of suspended disbelief on that.
Yeah.
About how long it took?
Yeah.
All right. Moving on to the next episode.
Yep, go.
Pegasus. All right. Galactica's just flying along, minding their own business. Oh, no, we have a contact on Dratus. Who is it? Oh, no, they're giving us colonial codes. Who could it be? It's the Battlestar Pegasus. Admiral Kane shows up with the Battlestar Pegasus, which is a beautiful ship, massive ship. It's basically the whatchamacallit of the fleet, like the Enterprise would be. Flagship of the fleet. And
Flagship ship.
So Kane hops on board, initially looking all tough and strong when they get on board, and then they're like, welcome back. She says, welcome back to the fleet, which is weird because... Yeah, but we'll get to that. And everyone's celebrating and happy, and they're all getting to know each other, and things are great and everything. And Adama right away goes, she's the commanding officer. Now I report to her, and Rosalind's like, I don't really like this. I've gotten used to this. And Kane's like, you got a problem, bitch? And she's like, nah, bitch, we good. We good, bitch.
That's 5 bitches.
Yeah. Fuck yeah, shit.
But as this is happening, now Kane is not resupplying the fleet with stuff. She promises to leave the Galactica alone, but then she starts integrating the crew, basically telling Adama, you've gotten sloppy, you let your crew get away with everything. And this is all happening while Ty is doing his favorite pastime, getting drunk with the other XO of the other ship.
But he's manipulating the guy. It's awesome.
This is the one time where you're like, Ty, you know what you're doing. He gets the guy drunk, and the guy basically admits the previous XO refused an order from the captain, and she shot him right on the bridge of the
Admiral,
ship.
don't demote her.
Yeah, or the Admiral, yeah. And he basically laughs it off and says, I wasn't telling the truth. And Ty smartly starts laughing along too, but then goes to Adama and be like, this bitch be crazy.
Yeah.
This bitch is crazy. And Adama's like, good job, bitch. Good job. Good job getting drunk. So anyways, Baltar goes to the other ship because they talk about how they have a Cylon prisoner of their own. And as they're approaching, number 6 is like, ooh, I wonder what Cylon this is going to be. Ha, 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 ha.
We all knew
this
it was
is
gonna be.
amazing. And then all of a sudden she sees herself and wow, it's bad. It's another copy of 6, and she's had the crap beat out of her. She's tortured and raped by the crew of the Pegasus. And Baltar basically says, look, hey, your way of doing it has not worked. Have you tried being nice to her?
Use the stick. Let's use the carrot now.
Yeah, exactly. And as this is happening, the crew are all hanging out in another area, drinking, having a good time with the Pegasus crew, and they're talking about how they've basically been raping and beating up on this other Cylon on the ship, and it pisses Hilo and Tyrrell off, who now are bros for life after realizing, hey, we both love Cylons. Let's be Cylon lovers together, bitch.
What?
They realize that right now there's an interrogation going on of Boomer, and they know what that's.
They didn't realize that they were told.
They were told, and they realize what's going to happen in that interrogation.
They were also told that she's about to have a heck of a ride.
Yeah, exactly. So they go there and they throw the guy off, but when they throw him off, he hits his head against a nail. He's dead.
Good.
They get arrested for treason by Admiral Kane. She takes him off the ship, and Adama's like, you can't take him off my ship. And she's like, well, they're going to stand trial, bro. Don't worry. It's going to be okay. Don't be a bitch about this. And then Ty calls him and he says, trial's over. And he's like, over? When did it start? When did it start? He calls Admiral Kane. He's like, listen, bitch. Sorry. Now it's the thing. Listen, bitch.
Dude, we got 30 minutes. Wrap it up.
Okay. We're good. We're good. Yeah. And there's a stand down. They're standing off. Adama orders his Vipers to go get a strike crew against them and vice versa. And that's where we're at.
All right, before we really get into anything
That was
else,
30 seconds.
I have a question. Yeah, it was totally 30 seconds.
You're being sarcastic, aren't you?
Yeah.
So
100%.
Ensign Rowe comes on the bridge, and then I'm like, how did she get out of the prison to get on here? I didn't realize this was going to be a crossover between this and the Next Generation.
Oh, I know.
And I was like, oh, shit, why'd they change her name to it?
They got a Maquis?
And how'd she get promoted to Admiral?
Admiral?
So
I'm like, so how did she get into this fleet from Starfleet, from the jail? No, Ensign Rowe. And change her name. I thought
was she an ensign or lieutenant?
Ensign.
She was an ensign on Next Generation because she's
And
a
she's-
commander in Picard.
And she's an Admiral now.
Yeah, she's an admiral. She did good. So
She did good for herself.
So she was the first mention of the Maquis on Next Generation, by the way. She was an ensign, and she was like a protege of Captain Picard, and she betrays them in an episode and leaves. Like she was supposed to do one thing and then joins the bad guys and leaves.
What I'm doing is I'm refusing to see that this is two different shows.
Yeah.
And now I'm just going to say this is Ensign Rowe.
See,
It's a crossover.
Rob's all in.
It's a
now
crossover.
I want to figure out what's happening. It's like, how did she get here?
She kind of fits the Ensign Rowe we saw in.
Well, how are you going to not spoil that? Because it's not been a week, by the way.
I'm talking about the Ensign Rowe in Next Generation.
Yeah, that's right. Sure
Yeah.
you were. You already said it.
That's okay. It's not important.
But how'd you get in the Maquis prison to get it to this fleet?
I don't know. But so anyways, you got Admiral Kane here, who's a badass, really. Like,
Yeah, but
like a badass as in strong, but like a badass is in she's bad.
She bad.
yeah,
She bad. But she's kept her fleet alive.
Her fleet of one ship?
yeah,
Her fleet of one, but they're still alive.
yeah. But she shot some of the fleet.
But they're still alive. So okay.
So either she's a bad shot, or
So let's talk about this because this is an important point, right? This is where This is an important moment in Battlestar Galactica. I think this is a moment where
I think this is the line. I think this is a line in the sand right
this
here.
is this is where you're like, okay, this is
They should have named it that.
a line in the sand. No, I like Pegasus because
That's also an episode of DS9.
yeah.
Pegasus.
Line in the Sand.
I like that.
So it's interesting because you have these two crews who have found ways to survive, and one has doubled down in military order, and one has doubled down over the concept of family, right? One is like, we're going to be the Fast and the Furious of Battlestar Galactica, and one is like, we're going to be...
Well, Dama wanted the democracy.
So this is like Next Generation and DS9, right?
This is, in a lot of ways, this is.
Like this is Picard and Cisco. In
Well,
Cisco would
an
never...
extreme version of Cisco.
what?
Kane?
No, Kane would be Picard.
No,
by the
no,
book.
because Picard would never shoot his
No,
commanding
no.
officer.
I mean, like by the book.
By the book.
Yeah, okay.
Picard's by the
In
book.
that instance, yes.
And then Adama is more.
Morally gray areas.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's what I'm saying. It's like
That's
by
fair.
the book. I'm not saying they're exact equals.
Yeah.
I'm just saying in Star Trek, you have your crew that was more by the book. We're gonna do it the right way,
Yeah.
and then we're gonna have this other crew where it's there, like you said, moral. So this moral gray area.
Yeah.
Not every decision is going to be the exact same decision making process.
Yeah.
Continue.
Originally, when we were watching this, or when I was watching this, sorry, and it came down to her not wanting to talk to the president, and I'm like, you initially watch it, and immediately in my head, I'm thinking, I don't really want to watch another story where the CEO's having issues adapting to the president. But then at the end of it, you realize it's not really going to happen
It's
that
not
way.
about that.
Yeah.
No. It's
But
not-
initially, that's what I'm thinking. I'm like, really? We're going to do this again?
yeah.
And,
No.
But I was happy to be proven incorrect.
I think that's one of the things that this show does right. When you have an expectation of what's going to happen, they flip it upside down. I mean, this starts off very hopeful, this episode. The first 15 to 20 minutes, you're like, this is great.
Ironically, the first 15, 20 minutes, I didn't like very much.
You didn't like the music,
I hit
which
the music was terrible in the beginning.
the music when they show the Pegasus
Oh my
is
God.
not very
Yeah.
good. It's very
It was
not
distractingly bad.
But by the end of the episode, the music, the scene, the
Prepare
music,
for War music.
everything was excellent.
good. Yeah, the preparing for war was great. I think that's actually the name of the track, if I'm correct on that. But I'm gonna look that up.
Did you know that there was actually this is based off an original series episode, Pegasus, as well,
From the original.
from the original Battlestar series?
Oh, I did not know that.
Yep.
I don't know how I found that out. I think I maybe saw it on Instagram or something.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
But yeah,
So, gosh, I think there's so much going on in it. I don't know where to start on this one. So,
let's start with 6. Let's make it easy. Kind of start there.
okay.
Well, there is a lot to discuss in this
But
episode.
we got to start somewhere.
Gosh, because like we got to
want-
talk about the war.
Do you want to do prisoners by prisoner, or do you want to just do the way that Pegasus handles their Cylons?
Let's go. Pegasus handles their silence.
So,
Because
okay, here's a good point. So I knew this episode was coming up all along, and you guys are, the whole time you're like, they're Cylons, who cares? They're Cylons, who cares? But if you fail to see, like, they look like you, they talk like you, they act like you, and the second you start treating them like machines, you've lost your own humanity. And I think this is a good episode where it proves they've lost
I
their
think this is why I
humanity.
would like to name the episode "Line in the Sand" because it goes across a lot of different things.
Well, my question to you, Joe, is so we got Boomer and we have 6, Prison 6. Prison 6.
yes,
Here's the thing, though. If they would have just shot Prison 6 because she was a silent and killed 5 of their men or whatever it is, okay.
yeah,
Exactly. Okay. But the problem is when it became torture and rape, that's the line in the sand.
that is a
man.
line in the sand, and it's. There was something. I don't know if it was in one of these episodes or if it was something else I was watching recently, where someone said there's other fates worse than death,
Yes.
and
Yeah,
I'm
that's
like,
the prelude.
absolutely, there are other fates worse than death.
And
I mean,
and number 6 here is living it.
right,
this
and you see what they're doing to the prisoners. Now, if I'm not going to really criticize you if you take a prisoner, get the information out of them that you can without crossing this line, or you just kill them in war. You just kill them. It's war. That's what happens.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. but I'm not taking a prisoner and then the beatings.
The systematic beatings
are a bit much.
It's where you get in the gray.
It's really when you bring rape into the equation where I'm like, okay, now we're crossing a line here.
Now we're clearly crossing a line.
Clearly crossing because physical altercations are not uncommon in interrogations.
Yeah.
They're not, and whether or not you agree with that, those are a part of it. Now, if you're like, we're talking war, not petty theft, not grand theft auto or anything. We're talking war. These are we're playing with different cards.
And to piggyback on that, at that point you're worse. You're just as bad as silence.
Just as bad. They're way worse.
Well, I'm just saying,
because. So thinking about these scenes, right? So going with when the one commander goes to interrogate Boomer, he doesn't even try to meet her where she's at. He goes right into the beating mode and then immediately progresses to trying to rape her.
Yeah.
This isn't about getting information. This is about getting his
power.
rocks. This is about power. This is about him feeling
Absolute
good
power.
about himself. This is about a man who is small and insecure and feels like this is how he's going to justify himself, right? So to me, it's one thing to rape is never okay.
No.
I think torture to me, torture is never okay. This is a discussion about war. I know. Well, we've had
this. This brings up an even broader and even more nuanced discussion about war because.
And I was thinking about that when we've had these discussions in the past.
I know that Rob is the hated one on the show, but. Yeah. I don't necessarily disagree with torture as a tactic.
Right.
But it's not a blanket statement. It's an individual thing.
Case by case
basis. What is the context? What are you trying to achieve and how are you trying to achieve it?
Yeah.
Because some people will say denying food is torture.
You're right.
Putting someone in prison, you could say, is torture.
Right.
Torture
absolutely
is
watching
too.
Battlestar Galactica is torture.
I absolutely would deny someone food if I needed to get information out of them. I would do it.
Yeah.
I would not rape them, but I would deny. I would. There are other things.
You torture me by denying me that ass.
I'm gonna have to put a graphic.
What's up?
I'm gonna remind me to put a graphic content warning in this episode too.
Yeah, there's a trigger warning here.
We should have said that before we got into that, but I'll put it in the episode description.
And then I'll steal that and put it in my episode.
Or maybe we'll do a voiceover before the episode begins. So, anyways,
I think that's a good idea.
That's what we'll do. We'll do a voiceover before it begins. So, anyways, going with this number 6 who's tortured, beat, and raped. Okay. They're not just saying it's the interrogators doing it. They leave her there for anyone on the ship.
That's definitely
go in.
That sounds like what it was in that locker room.
And this is what Admiral Kane is allowing. So
yeah,
you were talking about how she plays it by the book. She doesn't necessarily.
She plays it by her own book.
She plays it by a book of She is someone who's so obsessed with the idea
That's
of
a good
revenge.
point.
She's lost.
That's a very good point.
You know,
I was thinking like just militarily, like strategy.
She's lost in revenge.
Chain of command, maybe she's by the book, but outside of that.
Where we see Adama, who he sees Boomer and he tries to kill her, right? But then he realizes, okay, maybe I shouldn't. Like, this is a man who realizes revenge isn't always the best solution. He can still use Boomer in other ways.
Right.
We saw that in the previous episode. If he beat her and tortured her and had her treated like Admiral Kane did with their crew, there's no way she's helping the Galactica here.
Right.
They're dead. Right?
At that point, what they're doing to Six and Boo and Sharon, you're not trying to extract information. There's no strategy there.
No, there is no strategy there.
Once you bring that type of approach to make it incredibly soft, but that when you approach it like that, and you're going to go in there and just anybody can have their way with the prisoner.
Yeah.
That's not a strategy. That's not interrogation. No. That's not. That's just
depravity, in my opinion. That's what that is. That's total depravity right there. You are
plain old rape, is what it is.
You
not
are
for anything else other than.
And the doctor called it unforgivable.
So you know I've talked about.
I think that's being generous.
It's generous, but at least someone said it on the show.
Yeah.
So you know I've talked about no one is truly evil. I think you're also capable of committing truly evil acts, and those were truly evil acts.
Absolutely.
It doesn't matter that they are not human, right? That's the equivalent of someone justifying. That's the equivalent of Michael Vick justifying his freaking dogfighting ring. Like, that's still not justifiable. No, it is.
No.
Yeah.
No. I didn't say, when you say it's the equivalent, I'm like, nah, this is much worse.
Well, this is yes, but I'm putting in human, like when humans torture animals or do these things to animals and people are like, well, they're just animals. No, bro. Like, this says something about you as a person that you treat and abuse life in such a way.
I mean, when you talk about animals, we see it go. The thing is, it goes from animals to humans. It progresses.
And we also see this with the crew of the Pegasus, right?
Yeah.
Right.
Animal Kane shoots her XO right on the bridge.
Shit runs downhill. If it's she's killing her own. She's killing her own crew, or attempting to kill her own crew, or maim them, or harm them. Like what?
She's taught her crew that the only way to rule is through fear, right?
Yeah.
Well, she's already taught them power.
Yeah.
Because the
there you go.
XO
That's probably
hesitating.
a better way of
The
putting
XO
it.
hesitating questioned her power.
Don't question anyone's power, which is why the abuse and rape of 6 is acceptable, because it's them asserting power.
Now,
which over a powerless woman who's chained to the floor.
Yeah.
Oof.
Now we saw 6 in her cell before we knew really what they were doing, right? So we just assumed she was worse for the wear.
We just assumed they beat the crap out of her.
Yeah, that's all we assumed.
So
and then
really,
I just said just, but yeah,
so really,
she's just a machine, Rob.
that's true.
Really, the scene is the scene with Sharon. That's where you're like, oh shit. Like, this is what they're doing.
Well, they started to talk about it in the locker room before the scene.
They did the locker room talk, and they
you're
alluded to
But
it.
you just assume it's locker room. You don't really, and then you see it actually happen, and then it's like, oh, this is real. This isn't just talk.
Yeah.
This is, I mean, it was
a well executed scene, because then you see.
I don't know how they got this on TV. Honestly, cable, but
it's still sci-fi. It's not
cable.
I will tell you.
Cable.
I will tell you. There's a 59-minute extended version of this.
I was going to say there's notes out there that says there's like 2.5 episode. Of
it's
this.
available on
the DVD,
on the Blu-rays that I have. So if you ever want to watch it,
so where's the extra 15 minutes of footage? Where do they extend?
So Starbuck argues unsuccessfully to Adama and Roslin that the Galactica should return to Caprica to rescue survivors. Kane and Baltar discuss the efficacy of physical coercion and interrogation.
I'd like to see that scene.
A conversation between Kane and Adama makes it clear that the Pegasus is much larger, more advanced, and more powerful than Galactica, which I feel like we kind of see.
I'd like to see that scene too, though, because I like to see them both on screen when they share scenes.
They're together.
Very good.
And then finally, Hilo and Tyrell interrupt rather than prevent Sharon's rape. I'm okay with them interrupting.
When they went to the doctor scene. Never mind. I forgot what I was going to say. But yeah, I'm perfectly fine with that too.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't think they could have gotten away with an interruption.
And I don't.
Although, so with consensual sex scenes on this show, they've pushed a line. They've pushed a line.
Well,
for
even
sure.
the scene with 6 on the bed.
Yeah,
but even like what they showed was still, you knew he bent her over and pulled down his pants.
Well, people were holding her like that too.
Oh gosh,
it was
rough.
It was
fucked up. Yeah.
That's why, to me, like, there is no redemption for any of this Pegasus crew. I'd blow that ship up in the water, man.
Yeah, I would just
like, they're
eradicate
all
the whole
tainted
thing.
at this point. Well, but then you're just as bad as Pegasus.
No, because you're just killing them. You're eradicating. You're eradicating.
You're eradicating on a sense of ending evil before it spreads, kind of a thing. But then you become evil by doing the evil.
So let's look at it as like cancer. They're a cancer cell. They're a big cancer mass.
Well, that's why she put her cancer on that other ship.
So Kane's the cancer, though. She's
her
the one.
people are now too.
She
all
was
of them, you think?
She was the catalyst.
Well, the way they portrayed everybody on that ship, they're all scumbags.
Yes.
Everybody on the ship, which I don't believe is possible, but the way they
we've
portrayed
seen
them,
so far, like the CAG of that crew,
the people that were in the distillery.
Yeah, the people in the distillery. Yeah, I mean, yeah, but maybe they've been.
I'm playing it safe. I'm taking the whole ship out. I don't want I don't want any of that crew.
Are they all dirtbags though, or again, is this going back to they've been taught that being powerful is the only way to get by? So maybe they're acting a big game.
Well, here's the thing: they've been taught that for what? How many months has it been since?
Like 3 months,
For 3 months, they've
3-4 months.
You're
right?
running with a theory that's possible in 3 months. Their entire personality
Has been
and moral
infected.
compass has changed that much in 3 months.
Well, I mean, if you're talking about the eradication of your whole species and now you're traumatized, I think it's possible. I mean, we've seen that with torture, like becoming the, what do they call that? When you're tortured so much, you begin to empathize with your torturer.
Oh,
is that called?
crap.
What is that? Stockholm syndrome.
Stockholm syndrome.
Yeah.
So they can that can happen through that because you break them down mentally. And what else do they have? This is, I mean, they're broken down.
Yeah.
I'm going to Google how long Stockholm syndrome takes to set in.
What do you think about this? So when Adama kind of
We got 13 minutes. Dang, this sucks.
talks to her, I mean, we can always pause and record more
Yeah, we
later.
could.
We got a Patreon thing at noon. That's why we're saying 13
Yeah, we
minutes.
got a Patreon coming up. Sorry, folks.
But when he talks to Kane after the effect and doesn't mention what just happened to her in that room, is that good or bad?
Wait, he talks to Kane. Who?
Didn't he talk to Kane right after?
Who is he?
Adama, old man.
So are you saying does Adama know about what's happening with their Cylon prisoner?
With Boomer. So he talks to them because they took.
He doesn't know at this point because Kane's just now. She said this is your ship, but then every action is like, no, I'm going to do what I want.
She arrested his men at that point, right?
Yeah, she had already arrested his men. He didn't.
He had to know what happened to Boomer. In that.
I don't think he does know.
I don't think he knows.
Okay,
I don't.
all right.
I think it's basically like I'm the admiral. You're on a need to know basis now.
But it happened. See, I'm trying to think. I'm trying to justify him not saying like, "What the hell is your men trying to do in there?"
Well, I think this goes back to the conversation he had with Rosalind earlier. I'm so used to taking commands. When he knew, think about this. When he knew Kane 3 months ago, she was probably a pretty decent person, right?
Vote no.
Nah, I'm going to vote
I
no.
think she was.
I'm going to vote no.
A lot happened to Ro in those Maquis prisons. I don't know what changed her.
Or let's just put it this way. Like, he was a commander. They're the admirals. You were in this chain of command. You follow this chain of command. Your assumption is that they're admirals because they're good at their job.
This
right?
is
So he's following who he thinks is good at his job.
So to me, this is this behavior, this way of commanding, it was dormant for a while, and this was an excuse. This is George W. Bush after 9/11. He was going after Osama bin Laden no matter what.
Yeah.
9/11 was the thing that happened that said I'm going because he immediately went, and it was the wrong. It was the
I
wrong
don't think, though,
thing.
George Bush is an Admiral Kane. I think Dick Cheney is an Admiral Kane. George Bush is more like the XO who's just like, okay, I'll do what you say, even though it's wrong.
Right, but I think he wanted to finish
What his dad
started.
Yeah.
And if he could do it as president, he was going to do it, and he found his opportunity. And this, I think, Admiral Kane, I don't think she always ruled like this.
Yeah.
But now that we're in dire straits,
Yeah.
she doesn't. This is what she's going to do.
Yeah.
I think it was there the whole time. I just don't think they ever used this sort of. There was no reason to use this force.
So you mentioned George W. Bush. A good point that these interrogation scenes were meant as an allegorical critique of what he had done during that era. Because the
I didn't even read that.
waterboarding and all those things that they did, And remember that time where we saw the pictures of the woman posing with the thumbs up over the tortured? There you go. There's a great example of like these were humans, but when you start doing these terrible acts to other people, you lose your own sense of humanity and things that you never would have done before.
So with that picture, it's really the picture that does it, right?
The smile and the thumbs
Right.
up. Yeah.
Because what that person did is currently being done. I don't believe, maybe not to that degree.
It's still happening today.
That stuff still happens.
Yeah, absolutely. But they're just doing a better job hiding it.
Right. So it's like, I was floored that they got away, that scene was in, that scene was one of the more powerful scenes I've seen in a television show that's not like streaming or modern, I guess. Like, because it was still on cable, but still, it was equivalent to when to the what is it? What's his name? Put the phaser to his head. He was going to commit suicide.
Oh, O'Brien.
O'Brien put the phaser to his head, and I was like,
powerful. It's super powerful. Yeah, it's super powerful. Gosh, we got so much more to talk about, guys. We're at hour 30. We have 5 minutes. Should we take a quick commercial break?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Let's take a commercial break. That's a
break.
good idea.
We're gonna and by commercial break, I mean we're gonna pause this episode so we can go do our other thing. we'll be back to continue our discussion on this one. This is gonna be a long episode of.
This is an excellent episode, but it's worth the discussion. The episode is worth.
I don't want to cut this one short, especially because that seems like we're diminishing what's actually happening. So we'll be right back, folks. We love you. We'll be right back.
Enjoy the commercial break.
So we're back from our quick commercial break, which probably wasn't even a commercial break for you. It's probably just a cut.
On YouTube, there will be.
But on YouTube, there will be. So we had our Patreon exclusive. It was about 2 hours, so you all should join our Patreon. We had a great conversation. We had 3 of our patrons there. We had a blast, and it went a lot longer than we thought. So $2 and $5, $10 tier. So with all that said, we had left off. We were talking about torture. We were talking about how it's going to happen no matter what. But where it gets dangerous is when you start to lose your humanity in it. And we were talking about the whole George Bush thing with the pictures that were taken with the thumbs up and all that. And the Pegasus crew, are they now, in your opinion, are they worse than the Cylons in what they've done?
I think
it's different.
Is there a difference between just dropping a bomb on people and killing them versus keeping them alive and systematically torturing them?
Yes, I think so.
There is a difference, but the Cylons also did it in mass quantity.
Yeah, it was genocide.
Yeah, so there's a difference there.
Yeah,
we're really splitting hairs here.
Yeah,
I mean, I don't think the Cylons would go to the lengths that the Pegasus crew did.
Right.
But they were trying to eradicate an entire the entire species.
But you know what's so interesting to me is this whole war by the Cylons is a very personal war, right? This is over. They're just pissed off at humans. Like they want to kill them because they're mad at them. And now the humans are mad at the Cylons, but the difference is the Cylons aren't torturing. They're just killing and moving forward.
Not all the humans are either, just this contingent.
This rest of this fleet,
yeah.
right? Yeah, the Pegasus is doing that. And probably not all of the Pegasus, not all of the crew probably knows what's going on. There's the grease monkeys. Oh, bad slang. That are just minding their business. We heard about the deck chief.
Yes.
Who was just a normal engineer who just got drafted to be their...
Didn't have a choice.
Didn't have a choice. She basically conscripted him into the fleet. So there's all these people who are probably innocent. But that's where I go back with my point with the Pegasus. Is it a redeemable thing? Is the crew redeemable, or are they all lost? You think they're all lost?
I think they all might be lost.
I think they're all lost as well.
But definitely playing it like the whole crew has gone batty.
I wonder, though, like, we've only seen, I think it's almost intentional, we've only seen a couple of the major components of the crew, right? We've seen the interrogator guy. We've seen their CAG be jerks. And we've seen Admiral Kane be jerks, and then the other guys in the locker room talk when they were drinking, right? But the XO doesn't seem like a bad guy, does he?
He seems indoctrinated to a point.
Oh, see, I feel like more than indoctrinated, he feels stuck. Like, what is he going to do? If he doesn't listen, he dies.
Damned if he does, damn if he doesn't.
Is he the one that got shot?
No, he's the one who tells the story about getting shot.
He's the one.
Oh, that's right. That's right.
And then she turned to me.
Yeah. Yep.
And so what did you do? I ordered the attack.
I mean, I don't know. I feel like it's a scale of insanity.
Yeah.
And a lot of the crew, the crew that we've seen is like on the
They're
very
past
end.
the tip of no return, the point of no return.
I think so.
Okay.
I don't with Kane in charge of. It's Kane, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Admiral
Kane in charge of the Pegasus. I just don't see how the ship as a whole is redeemable, because nobody's stepping up to combat or stop what's happening.
Yeah.
Everybody's complicit.
Mm-hmm.
you know, what's the adage about policemen? If you have if you have two cops and the one doesn't stop the bad cop, how many bad cops do you have? You have two bad cops.
Yeah.
That's
kind of the same idea.
Same thing here.
So I mean,
but think about the loyalty of the Galactica.
That could be a coup. If they're probably outnumbered. If what you're saying, like the quote unquote good guys
people
on the ship versus the indoctrinated and the people who align with Kane.
Yeah,
you could have a coup.
But you don't know. They don't know maybe what's going on. They don't know the extent of it.
I don't know. Maybe it's coming along the line later, but there could be something materializing on the ship we're unaware of too at this point.
Yeah, there could be secretly a coup
and you have
formulating or whatever.
To pick your spot.
Yeah,
it is kind of interesting. So here's what I want to go to is we are just like this is what a couple days of them being together, maybe.
Yeah,
because they've reassigned things. Things are moving around. How quickly Admiral Kane messes this up. Like they've been alone on their own, and this fleet has been surviving, maybe screwing up here and there, but they've been getting by. And she comes in and immediately starts a civil war, basically, because that's what's happening here, right? She's starting.
This is tie level.
Yes, it is, right? Like think about if she had sent someone else on a mission and they come back to the ship and they're like, "How are things going?" Well, we found 48,000 survivors. Bad news, we're going to kill them all.
Yeah.
By the way, and this is another part of my problem with Kane. Humanity is limited in numbers, and she is more concerned about controlling her power, so she will kill people in her fleet, the remainder of humanity, just to maintain her power in order and control. That's messed up.
Yeah, it is.
It is. I mean, I don't think any of us here are siding with her, so...
But at the same point,
well, she wiped out her 5 ships that were along with those because they disagreed with her.
Yeah, right.
Because they weren't essential essentially, so she wiped them out.
She wiped out those ships.
So definitely the good of humanity was on her agenda. The revenge part, like you were speaking of earlier, was.
But maybe she thought. I mean, again, that's Adama's initial reaction was to go back and fight. It took Rosalind to be like, "Bro, this war's over." Yeah,
I gotta go back to that.
Bitch. This war's over, right? Kane didn't have someone, a confidant that she was listening to, so she went into the deep end and said, "Okay, we're gonna fight them. We're gonna do guerrilla warfare." Obviously, it's been pretty successful to this point because they were going out of their way to track a Cylon fleet. You don't track someone unless you're doing okay.
How did they retrofit this Battlestar so it didn't get hacked like everything else?
They already said, didn't they already say all the systems were down? It was down for maintenance.
But what about right now? Couldn't the same theory apply? Or maybe they realized what happened and they safeguarded it, but we saw what happened on Battlestar Galactica.
Yeah, right.
So I'm trying to remember. So I will say there is a movie that they release, Battlestar Galactica Razor, and it was released after the end of the second season, and it's set on the Pegasus with Admiral Kane.
Are we going to review that on the show?
If you guys want to. It's a really good episode. And
it's a movie?
Yeah.
Okay.
It's a 2-hour movie. It's
2 hours. Can we?
It was
hour 40 minutes. If you can't say what you got to say in an hour 40,
that's what it is because it was like 2-hour blocks on Sci-Fi.
It was probably TV movie.
Yeah,
all right.
It was a TV movie, so it's an hour 40.
Okay.
So
I'm back on board.
It's about the time before they met up with the Galactica. So and
7.6 on
that's not
IMDb.
bad. That's not bad.
I think it's pretty good actually. I think we should review it, but I don't think we should wait until the end of season 2 because it follows in chronologically at a point in the series. So we'll talk about that at a different point in time.
So we're watching that next week.
No, it's after an episode. Well, we'll get there. So,
Nick will work on that.
Yeah.
Well, while I'm working on that, why was the air quotes there? Why was
because you're going to do work on the show? That's be new.
Yeah, that's a good point. After there's an episode titled "The Captain's Hand," that's where it fits in. After the Captain's Hand.
Oh, okay.
Battlestar Galactica Razor. Razor. I hardly knew her.
Mm-hmm.
It looks like some of the cast for Battlestar Galactica Prime is in it too from the poster.
Yeah.
Okay.
You'll get some character. Yeah, absolutely. You do.
Is that what we're calling it now? Battlestar Galactica Prime.
Proper.
The Prime universe.
Proper.
Yeah.
Okay. I want to go back to another decision she made, though. So she court-martials these guys, and she finds them guilty.
Mm-hmm.
She's really not wrong in that. They did kill one of the colonial officers. They killed.
But is that
the
treason?
superior.
I think she's wrong in her. What is she, a Cardassian? That sounds like Cardassian trial.
Yeah,
You're
guilty.
guilty, and no matter what.
Well, and then didn't she say in the times of war, an admiral can make that decision, and she heard their statements versus statements of the guys who were there. But think about this. Think about this from the perspective of these soldiers who were there. They're just minding their business. Business as usual for them, because on their ship, business as usual is torturing and raping the Cylon.
6.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Okay. So they're just minding their business, doing what they got to do. All of a sudden, these Galactica crew members run in and start beating the crap out of you and kill your commanding officer. Like, in your mind, these are bad dudes.
Have you ever seen the movie A Time to Kill or read the book?
Yes.
Would you find him guilty?
No.
Then why would you find these guys guilty?
I probably wouldn't, but in the chain, the way Kane works.
Yeah, Kane is.
And
I know, but you
following
said
the-
she's not wrong.
She's
She
not-
is wrong.
And it's not treason necessarily.
She's wrong
Just because you're
in the
court-martialed doesn't
spirit
mean...
of the law, but not the intent of the law. So she's following. Okay, she's following the letter of the law rather than the spirit of the law. So she's going exactly by the letter of the
If
law.
we're talking court-martial, then let's talk court-martial. She should be brought up on charges.
Of killing her second in command, but she accused him of treason, right? So there's that. I don't know what you,
Yeah.
Rob. What is wrong with you? We're trying to broadcast a award-winning podcast here.
Ooh, what awards did
What did we win?
Razzies?
Please
Razzie.
stop doing it.
The please stop doing it.
3 years in a row. We're on a streak here.
Yeah.
But
If you're good at something, keep doing it.
But do you feel like, I feel like Kane, okay, she's technically wrong in that she's following colonial law, but I feel like she has a moral responsibility to keep these humans alive because there's very few of them left.
I think she's picking and choosing where she wants to follow this law. Is she not?
I don't
I mean-
think so. In her mind,
Shooting your second in command, that's a following law?
she accused him of treason. He refused to
Oh, so
direct
this,
So
orders.
this is
her
her move.
go-to.
This
This
is
is
her
her go-to.
move. She accuses people of treason and kills them.
People who don't follow a power, right? But she technically, according to colonial law, she's not.
You're an apologist.
I'm an apologist. I hate her. She's a dirtbag. But I see where she's coming from in her mind.
Her mind that we've established is wildly corrupt and
Delusional.
too far gone, delusional,
Yeah.
power drunk.
Going past the fact that I'm right and you're wrong.
Mm.
How cool is it that Adama is now basically committing mutiny just like his son did? His son mutinied against him, and he's like, "How could you do that to me?" Boom, bro. Admiral Kane's here, and you're mutinying against her.
Yeah, I think he has a
much better platform.
Yeah, a bit
I
better.
think they both had good. I think it's justified.
I think
it'll help him understand his son a little bit better.
I think
is
his
what
son
I'm
had
getting at.
a decent platform. I think the old man has an excellent platform.
I think the old man has a pedestal.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. He has I think his son had a soapbox and he has a
Yeah,
pulpit.
exactly.
I mean, perhaps that's true. Perhaps. That's all I'm saying.
Oh, okay. You're Mr. Devil's Advocate today, aren't you?
I don't.
Mr.
This is such a.
Is
to
the
me,
bad guy really bad though?
Are the Cylons really bad? Like now the line is so blurred. Is it not blurred right
Well,
now?
we talked about this.
There can be two wrongs.
Yeah, I know, but I'm just saying it's not is you can't just be like these are ultimate like these are just villains who deserve everything they get and then see what happens to number 6 there and be like, yeah, that's still true. It's not still true. You see these Cylons have emotions, they have feelings,
I think you're arguing. I'm not arguing against the Cylons this week. So I think
you're
trying.
arguing against Admiral Kane.
So
She's a dirtbag. She deserves to die. I'm not
So I think
saying.
what we
no one
Wow.
deserves to die. Crap! Oh no!
Wow.
got him.
No.
I finally reached him.
Yeah,
you got him.
It just took Battlestar Galactica.
But I mean, I've been pretty adamant about like they're Cylons, they're bad. We don't negotiate with them.
Yeah.
We don't
Yeah,
fraternize with them.
Yeah, take them out.
You gotta
Yeah.
take them out.
Yeah.
And now, I think for the most part, I still am team that.
Yeah.
But I mean, I feel like I do trust Boomer Sharon a little bit.
Yeah.
Well, she knows who she is. She's not like the other.
Yeah, I feel like she's
proven
deflected,
herself. Yeah.
or defected, and now you can use her as an asset.
Mm-hmm.
She's starting to establish that trust by taking out her own kind.
Yeah,
Yeah.
The last episode,
Mhm.
she established that trust. And I think that's what makes that last episode important, because this is showing someone who it's no longer whose side is she really on. She's shown where her loyalty lies. And then here's this guy coming in here, and he's going to beat her and rape her because why? Power. Again, it goes back to power. Like, this isn't the same thing with their number 6 on board, which, by the way, in the credits, the number 6 does have a name.
Oh, does it?
It's Gina. Is
really?
the name of this character.
Damn, Gina.
It's Gina. Which, show note for this, this was a reference for the original series fan, because when it came out, they called the reimagination Gino Galactica in name only. They were pissed. They were pissed about this. They were pissed, the original series people. Kind of like Star Trek in name only, or Rhino Republican in name only. Same idea. Dino.
Dad in name only.
Dad in name only. Hey, well, that's true though.
There's those, yeah, absolutely.
Oh, that's sad. That's sad. Cool.
But so now we're really blurring the lines. Before it was like, okay, the chief and a couple people are like, they're Cylon apologists
They're
because
sympathizers,
they're
yeah.
sympathizers because they've fallen in love, or they were in these tangled emotional relationships, and now we see Adama siding essentially with the Cylons.
I don't know. I don't think I can put it that, but I think it's Adama siding with the emotions and sympathy of some of his crewmen for the Cylons. I think too, and also
It's all about his crew.
It is, but it's
his family.
But they were
He needs to
sticking.
protect his
They were
family.
sticking up for the
Protect family.
mistreatment of the enemy.
Yeah, right.
So
Exactly.
if you're sticking up for your crew who's sticking up for someone who mistreated the enemy, you're co-signing on what they did.
But does Adama have a moral high ground knowing that Kaylee just got a discharge of a firearm? Or was that a different era where they didn't really understand the silent hybrids?
I think this is like
The Cylons.
early stage COVID where we're really just
learning
figuring
as we
things
go.
out. We're learning on the fly, and like there were times where like information you got today, tomorrow is obsolete.
Didn't apply, yeah.
Or
Shoot, a lot of that's happening right now still.
yeah, or we've amended it, or we know more things as we're doing this in real time. So I think that's what he's doing.
And we're experiencing that. Like
He's
decision
adjusting his
that-
morals in real time.
So Kaylee may have had a harsher charge in this episode than she would have had when she initially killed Space Boomer.
right.
Yeah, and that's another thing that I admire about the show, and that's why I like Deep Space Nine, is these characters learned and grew as it progressed, right? Their views that they held at the beginning weren't the views they held at the end. Cisco was a very different character at the beginning than he was at the end. So was Kira. So,
Nog.
all of them were, minus Garrick and Quark. They're the same.
But I mean, even
but
those are
Garrick was
longer
more
arcs.
transparent. Was more transparent at the end.
But they're still.
I think so.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. But that's
Quark didn't change. Well,
that's-
actually, he did a little bit.
and
He
and-
did a little bit.
And this, again, is one of the reasons why I wanted to do this before Next Generation, because Next Generation, you really don't see a lot of character growth. They're pretty much the same characters.
Picard changes a little bit, but that's about it.
That's about it.
Yeah, do you think those characters grow a little more in Picard than they do in
Oh,
Next-
absolutely.
Yeah.
Jinx, you owe me a Coke.
No, as soon as I realized what you were doing, I took your inflection.
Yeah, thank you. I appreciate it. But yeah, absolutely. So again, this is why I think Battlestar Galactica is good, because you're seeing Adama change and grow as a person. The commander he was when they initially experienced the genocide is a different commander than we have now.
To me, it's like if you took the Dominion War and spread it out over the entire series.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, I would
You
have
only
loved
took
that.
the Dominion War, and that's what we're going to focus on as the series.
Oh, I would have loved that though.
Because that's when you saw like real time decisions and moral
Well, that's what
like
we saw
gray
DS9
areas.
really excel.
Yeah.
Right.
Mhm.
Again, no coincidence. Ronald Moore was deeply involved in that whole thing. So I think there's a correlation there. Production note that I want to add. This is a really cool thing David Icke says about Edward James Olmos. So Edward James Olmos was back in Miami Vice, right? Adama. He plays Adama. Not in Miami Vice. But
I was wondering what the
he's in Miami Vice. And his character in Miami Vice avoided eye contact with characters he doesn't respect. He took that inflection and carried it on to Battlestar Galactica. So pay attention to that.
I'm going to pay attention from now on.
And
for sure.
Ike says the amount Adama looks at Kane in Pegasus, direct eye contact, indicates his deep respect for her initially. So I kind of want to go back and rewatch it just based off. I never knew that until just now. So I dug that note. They also considered several actresses for the role of Kane, and Ronald D. Moore only wanted one actress because he had worked with her before. He wanted Ro Lauren. He wanted Michelle Forbes.
Because it's still Ro Lauren.
So he wanted her really bad. But according to Ike,
I wanted her really bad watching this episode.
Forbes was really reluctant to take this role because she felt like when she played Ro in Next Generation and ended up typecasting her as an actress. So she was.
That's why she didn't want to be Kira.
She was
or on DS9.
Yep. So she struggled to make that decision, but she ended up going with it, which I'm happy she did.
I mean, it worked out for Shatner, so.
That sure did.
Also, another cool note, Pegasus intentionally features more shots with harsh lighting and with cameras on dollies rather than handheld cameras as a more to make it look more like less like documentary style,
more regimented
and more regimented.
Now, I have a note about that. In the cinematography in the last 5 minutes of this was outstanding.
Oh my God! When he's walking down the hall,
when he walks down the hall, he gets the phone call, and then the back and forth between Adama and Kane, where the cameras are circling each of them as they're having this back and forth,
having this
and they have the music
in the background.
But then they do the. I've kind of railed against the whole like zoom in type of cinematography, but in the end, when you see all the Vipers on both sides come out, it really intensified the scene.
Makes you feel it a little deeper.
And I was like, okay, that in this instant that works really well.
Yeah.
But everything about that last scene, when Adama gets the phone call about the court martial, and then calls Kane, and that whole back and forth was I give that a 10 out of 10. Well, that scene is a 10 out of 10.
And even on that phone when he's like, over, when did it start? And blah, blah, you know, and then when he makes the decision to send the Raptors, he makes that grimace on his face like he knows what it means.
I got to do this. Yep.
He knows exactly.
It's like break in case of emergency. Break glass in case of emergency. That's what he's like, I got to do it.
So, and Rob, you noted that you hated this music right here. This is the Pegasus music.
Terrible.
Okay. So I just noticed this note, which is why I'm bringing this up.
It's still terrible.
It was intentional. Bear McCreary scored for the teaser. He wanted to lull them into a state of comfort, which it's a terrible song, but it's
not comfortable at all.
No, it's peaceful.
It's a lullaby.
It's peaceful.
Nope, it's terrible. And terrible doesn't equal comfortable in my book.
Like right here, it's kind of like
terrible.
It's almost like
garbage
music you would hear when you're meditating.
No.
Yeah, absolutely. Like when you're laying there
like
and massaging you.
Yeah.
Exactly. You would hear this. So it was a very intentional.
Rob, this sounds like half the shit you listen to.
And think about it. When they're in the initial shot, it's all about hope. And this presents that hope, right? And then to end that
presents
episode.
Me when we're in my head against this desk.
Then you end that episode with this. It's pretty.
It's not that bad.
It's terrible.
Yeah, and then you end the episode with this. Like, it's an incredible choice to end it with this.
I didn't think that first song was that bad.
It was distractingly bad.
It wasn't distractingly bad, but it wasn't great. Rob, you have very strong feelings that you feel.
About me.
Let me feel my feelings.
You guys are invalidating them.
That's a Scrubs quote.
Yeah, so.
Record. All right.
Your feelings are valid. They're wrong, but they're valid.
Could we talk a lot longer on Pegasus? We probably could, but we're at almost 2 hours, guys.
What did you want?
Did you have something?
No, I got nothing.
We should rate these bad
Cap.
boys.
What's that?
Nothing.
That's Cap?
Yeah. Cap.
Oh, gosh. Oh, Moore compares the difference between Galactica and Pegasus as the difference between a historical aircraft character like the USS Hornet to a modern aircraft carrier. Wish the Hornet was like a tiny aircraft carrier.
I did notice the differences. You could notice the difference in like the background with like the CRT TVs and everything, and then they had the more modern
The
stuff on the
LED
Pegasus.
stuff. Yeah, it's a really cool way of showing one is an outdated piece of crap Battlestar. Again, showing where Adama ranked in the order of command, which is why he would respect Kane so much. He was like, "Yeah, you're a Battlestar commander, but like you're the worst Battlestar. Like they give you the crap." Okay.
Didn't he stay on the Battlestar because he didn't want the technology? He wanted the more.
No, but they were going to renovate the Battlestar at one point in time, but he refused to have it
renovations.
renovated.
Yeah.
So I think he's staying on the Battlestar kind of by choice.
Yeah. Okay. So let's rate these episodes. Let's start with Flight of the Pheonix. Flight of the Pheonix. Let me pull up the rating scale. Flight of the Pheonix. Let me just tell you this right now, Rob, before we get into ratings.
Mm-hmm.
What you rate these episodes will not make me feel any less than you. I may say things. And I may be hurtful towards you, but I want you
Are you going to tell me to die?
I can't promise that.
Second time in a week.
I want you to know that I love you. Okay. Well, so let's rate Flight of the Pheonix. I'll start with that one. I think I'll give it a 7. I think it's still a good episode. I think there was some good emotional beats in there that I really, really enjoyed. I like Tyrell battling, like finding comfort in a machine, but battling against the fact that he loves a machine. And I like that. Them using Space Boomer, loved it.
I think I'm going to go 6.5.
Okay.
Now, I'm not quite there with you at a 7.
Okay.
But I thought it was a decent episode.
Okay.
I struggle with this episode, kind of like last week,
Yeah.
where there are things that I liked about it. There are things I want to like about it, but I just don't think it pulled it off as well as they intended to, type of thing.
Mm-hmm.
Like I struggle with it, and I'm gonna give it a 6, but I'm not thrilled about it.
Okay. And 6 still means it's good. It's just not your favorite. And 6 tells you it had promise, but it just didn't live up to it. Okay.
So now we get to the big Christmas gift. What do we got here?
Do you want me to start, or do you want to start?
I'll start. I think this was the best episode we've seen so far. Mm-hmm. I don't think I've given a 10, have I?
No.
Okay. Have I given 9.5s?
Let me look. I think you did. I think
you gave
Tribunal or Litmus, the military.
Oh,
yeah, that was a good one.
Again, there's elements of that here.
Yeah.
And I think I'm going to go 9.5.
Okay, 9.5 out of.
I can't quite give it a 10 because I just don't know if I have a 10 to give this show.
I don't have a 10 to give. I don't have a ply to spare.
I don't have a square to spare.
I don't have a square to spare.
Can't spare a square.
Okay.
9.5, shading up to 10. I mean, I don't think I have very many criticisms.
You've given out. Oh, you gave an 8.25 at one point in time because we averaged it. Because you gave
between the two.
Pegasus. This is my first 10. This is a perfect episode to me because it represents. This goes back to my Star Trek thing. Like, give me good things to think about. Give me things to make me question why I believe what I believe. Right? Are the Cylons the bad people? Are the humans the good people? Oh, now it's kind of turned upside down. But is it a lot more gray than that? This gives me a lot of gray. I mean, at the end, Kane's evil.
Is this quintessential Battlestar Galactica to you?
To me, it is, yes. This is what the show is all about.
Would this be one of the 5 episodes you showed some? You get 5
This would absolutely be in my top 5.
So if you could only show us the show through 5 episodes, would this be one of them?
Yes. This would probably be like number 2. Okay. I would probably choose one from each season, actually. If I had, well, there's only 4 seasons, but I might choose like 33 from the first season. I might choose Litmus because I thought that was a good one. I would definitely choose Pegasus in this one.
Okay.
Yep.
Robert?
I want you to look me in the eyes.
Bobby?
Okay, here we go.
2.
Are you serious?
He's not serious.
Fuck you.
The reason why.
He's not serious.
The reason. Yeah, he's muted me.
He's not serious. He's not giving it a 2.
The reason is because I actually gave it an 8.5. But
8.5. This is like Deep Space Nine.
Is this worse than me giving the Visitor
an 8? This is worse
an 8?
than the Visitor take.
I just
This episode's better than the Visitor.
No, it's not.
Yes, it is.
100% it is.
100%.
You know, actually, I do a 9. I would do a 9.
Okay.
Let me think about it. The beginning still took me completely.
The first 15 minutes
took
hurt
me
you.
completely out of it. Like
Yeah.
I did not have any interest in it whatsoever.
So if you got rid of the music and just
It's not even just the music. It was just I wasn't too interested other
the
than the Ro,
Pegasus.
other than how Ro got there.
okay, the monkey are here.
But it wasn't really until I think that Ty was talking to the other commander about what happened to the alien. To
Oh, and you
other
started
ships.
to realize,
like,
things aren't all
Yeah,
they're cracked up.
well, I
to be.
realized that from the get go. That's a problem. Is I realized that from the minute she stepped off the ship.
Yeah.
You knew something was going to go on, and so.
Well, I mean, the show's called Battlestar Galactica. It's not called Battlestar Pegasus, right?
Oh yeah,
So,
You don't know that.
Plus, you don't bring on. It's the same thing with Lucy Lawless. You don't bring them on to be a stand-up character.
Yeah. Yeah.
So you knew something was going on.
yeah.
So, yeah.
Yeah.
In a nutshell, they did a nice job at turning around, and like I said, my ratings. I've realized my ratings really go off of how much it wants me to watch the next episode right afterwards,
And this made you want to.
and it did a good job of that.
This
Well, I
one
mean,
is,
it did say to be continued, so
Eli.
But sometimes when this show's done, the to be continued, I haven't cared. I'll say I'll watch it
You're
next
like,
week.
"I'll wait."
That's the wrong thing to say. I wasn't eager to watch the next episode.
I get you.
that's where my half point comes from. That is my criticism, that it isn't a part 1 or part 2.
I
So-
knew that. I was hoping you would say something.
So Eli and I were watching this episode, and he was very similar to you. The first little bit of it, he's like, "It's okay, it's okay," and by the end of the episode, like he sat up and he was sitting at, and then it said "to be continued," and he made this look to me like, "We need to keep watching." I'm like, "No, Eli, we're not allowed. We can't keep watching. We gotta wait." And he's, he gets so mad at me for it.
Yeah, if to give me that 9.5, 9.10 or 10 area, you just gotta get me more from the beginning.
Yeah, I get you. That makes a lot of sense, and I can see now why Visitor did that for you because it does that very quickly in that episode. The teaser really.
And same
kinda-
thing, hard time. It gets you right there where.
Oh yeah, Hard Time does a very
Yeah.
good job with that. Yeah. All right. This is our longest episode in a long time, folks. We are over the 2-hour mark, and we're sorry for that.
Yeah, we got to apologize for that.
I'm not sorry. This is an excellent discussion.
It was.
If you stuck around for the Battlestar Galactica discussion, you were rewarded with pretty engaging conversation.
I mean, as good as
I'm not apologizing for shit.
Yeah, good for you. I appreciate.
I
it
don't
for that.
apologize. I double down.
But in the
I say we
meantime,
do another 20 minutes.
hey, join us as patrons,
do it.
folks. The $2, $5, and $10 tier. You'd really enjoy that. But you can also follow us at Cardassians Pod on Twitter.
Mm-hmm.
You can go at keeping_up_Cardassians on Instagram. We have Facebook and YouTube content too. YouTube, actually, we're going to release a live video on Saturdays. Not live, but a video on Saturdays that you can watch. So keep an eye out.
Call or text us.
Call or text.
734-494-0980.
And don't forget to rate us too. So we love you all. Thanks for keeping up with us. Join us next week as we review Resurrection Ship Part 1 and Part 2. Bye.